All right, we are live. Welcome. This is Orion Rising. I am your host, Leonard O'Neill. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good morrow, depending on where in the world you are tuning into the show. All right, check this out, check this out, check this out. Okay, as you can see on your screen, we have a different topic this week. Those on your screen, for those of you listening around the world on the MP3 broadcast, you can't see that. Those are the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. We are doing the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Last week, we finished doing the Corpus Hermeticum, and I started and I did the first two chapters of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I was on chapter 2, but we're going to just back up to chapter 2. So if you don't know what the Emerald Tablets of Thoth are, you need to look those up. There is a description. In the description, there's a little bit of the history. You'll get more. Next week, I was running a little late today trying to get this on the air, so I don't have all the information in the background that I wanted to have. So I will have that up. Welcome, 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 everybody. If you're live, say hello in the chat. Otherwise, I just see numbers up there. Right. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good morrow, depending on where in the world you are. I am coming to you live from Australia. It is 8 o'clock in the morning. It is 3 p.m. on the east coast of the United States. That's GMT -7. Emerald Tablets of Thoth. You can see an actual picture of the Emerald Tablets right there. That's kind of stretched to fit on the screen there. Let me take down that overlay. Let me go over here to my media here and take down that overlay so you can see me. There you go. Okay. So you can already see that we already have the Facebook or YouTube channel ready to go over here. So we're live on Instagram. We're live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. Right. So let me go over here and we'll go ahead and do a sound check and get started instead of sitting around taking a look at different things. There's my wife in the audience. Thank you, baby. Hi for you. Hi, good morning. She's on her way to work. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do a sound check and get us started. So the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Maybe I should do a little bit of background for that, right? For those of you who are maybe going, what are the Emerald Tablets of Thoth? I don't even know what's going on. Let me put myself up in full screen here so we can do that. Right. Sorry, I have a reflection, don't I? I'm going to have to lower that from otherwise I just have to stay out of that reflection from the sunlight on my face there, huh? Okay, so the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Some people say that they're not even real, right? That they were just invented by somebody. They're just fake. They say that about everything, by the way. So if you guys are out there in the world and you're paying attention to anything, if you look up any scroll, you look up the Hebrew creation story, you're going to find that on all of the platforms, especially on Google, I'm throwing rocks at them. They deplatformed me once, killed 500 episodes of my show because I disagreed with them because they had more information and access to more information than they were supposed to. And I told them no. So if you look up on these secular places that are run by secularists, you look up any scroll from any creation story from any religion on the earth, past, present, or even futuristic, believe that, it will say the creation myth. They tell you right there, they say they don't believe that any of them are true, that they're all just invented by people. And then they will lie to you and say there is no definitive proof that anything like that happened, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So it's all fake. That's what they'll tell you. So it doesn't matter what you do. Even if you look up Christianity, they're going to tell you the Romans invented Christianity to control the Jewish people. That it was fake. Jesus never lived. You look up King David. They're going to say, well, there was no definitive proof King David had anything to do with talking to God or any of that. He was just some guy. Well, yeah, he did do things in history because the Jews claim that he did. The Jewish people also claim that he talked to and spoke to God. Okay. But let's just say that part's not real, but the part of him being alive and really in history was real. Do you see? So they pick and choose what they want you to think is real. There's a reason for that. Okay. There is a reason for that. And I wrote about that in my book, which you guys can find online. It's live worldwide online. The reality about reality returning to the old ways. I'm not the only one who knows this. Everybody in the world knows about that. Right. Thank you, Brooke, for tagging half the planet. Get them all in here. So, pardon me. So the Emerald Tablets of Thoth when they were found, people started reading them and they translated them. And they were able to understand what they were saying. And Thoth, the Atlantean, claims to be from Atlantis, claims to be a god from Atlantis, not just a regular person, was elevated to the status of a god, and wrote these tablets talking about returning to the earth. The only reason that we know about them and have them is because different people in history, specifically according to historians in Greece, Rome, Egypt, and other places, but specifically those three very ancient cultures, even in India, that Hermes Trismegistus, who was Greek, who was Arcadian, lived in Arcadia, was in other places, but that was primarily I think that's where his statue was. When he was a philosopher and talked to God. We just went through his manuscript of conversations talking to God and teaching his son about the conversations that he had with God. When he died, people believed that he had been Thoth the Atlantean, the soul that was Hermes Trismegistus, that means three times great, thrice great, they believed Thoth the Atlantean. To further that, at the feet of the statue of Hermes, in between the feet of the statue of Hermes, they found a copy of the emerald tablets of Thoth. No one really knows. I'll have to investigate that, but as far as I could find out, nobody really knows how that happened, who put those there. If Hermes had them put there after his death, no one really knows exactly. So I'm going to look into that and give you guys more information about that. However, we have them. And I believe that it was in like 1929 when people started translating them and found them. But don't quote me. I haven't done my full due diligence research on it, on the history of where they were found, when, and who translated them. But I do know that we do have them and they are translated. And if somebody just invented them in the 20th century or in the 19th century, whoever invented them is as awake as I am, or more awake than I am, because of the information that is in there. And that information that is in there is the information that is locked into and hidden in every text around the world. And there are a few of us out there that are able to see that. And I am one of those people that are able to see these things when I read them and say, do you know, here's what they're talking about. Okay. I am one of those people that have received that gift to be able to do that. I didn't always have it. I was just as confused as everybody else until a few years ago, about 3 years, almost 4 years ago now. And then all of a sudden I was reading a scroll and figured something out in the scroll, and it was a flash of light and something crazy happened. And then all of a sudden I started realizing, because I was trying to find that scroll, I'll get into that story another time. I've told it several times on my podcast. Then all of a sudden, when I was reading scrolls, I was able to understand in a way that I was never able to understand before what these scrolls meant. Something was unlocked. And I'm not the only human on this earth to do this. I know this because there are other people out there that are saying these things. I didn't tell anyone for over a year because I thought I was making it up and thought I was crazy, even though I knew these things already. But to be able to actually read every scroll and do that, I thought maybe I'm making this up. So I waited to see if other people were translating them. Other people were translating them, saying the same thing. I don't know how this happened, but now I can understand these things. Do you know they mean this? Okay, so I talk about that in my book, and I talk about that all the time. And I interpret things the way that they're supposed to be interpreted to the world at this time. And the Thoth the Atlantean, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, is the next translation, because we went through Hermes, and Hermes, we believe, was Thoth the Atlantean. So now we're going to go to Thoth the Atlantean, and we're going back now, possibly more than 12,000 years. It's very possible that this tablet dates back to 36,000 years ago or further back than that. At the very least, if it was left behind from Atlantis, They believe in history that Atlantis sank somewhere between 12,000 and 40 to 50,000 years ago. They're not exactly sure. Some people say it happened about 12,000 years ago. Some of us believe that it happened further back than that, but it doesn't really matter so much as long as people look at that and realize Atlantis was a real place. It wasn't something like they were thinking before, that it was just fabled. They actually realize now that it's very, very possible. Just like Troy, they didn't think Troy was real, and now we found it. They didn't think that the cities that Shiva lived in India were real, and now they found both of those cities underwater. So throughout history, people go, those aren't real, those are fable. It never really existed. It was just something somebody made up. And then we stumble onto the actual city, and people go, wait a minute, this is the actual city. And they go, no, it can't be, it can't be, it can't be. And then they spend 20, 30 years investigating it, and they're like, this is that city. So a lot of those things have happened. So the Atlantis hasn't thoroughly been discovered yet. However, the concepts are getting us closer and closer to believing that it's real, not that it was some fable story that somebody made up, because there's too many people around the world that talk about it. So you can't talk about Atlantis without talking about Thoth, the Atlantean. The information that's coming from Thoth, the Atlantean, is an insane information. It is one of the oldest stories. It is the story that everybody else is talking about. And people say that, the ancient scrolls like the Enuma Elish is the oldest scroll, but the people in Mesopotamia say that it was Akkadian, that they got it from the Akkadians. And the Akkadians said that they got it from the Egyptians. And the Egyptians said they got it from a culture that died off like 70,000 years ago. So this information is an information just like that it looks like at the minimum it's 12,000 years old, and at the maximum it could be 77,000 years old. So no one's exactly 100% sure exactly how far back it goes. That is not that as important to me, nor is who wrote it, as is the information that is contained in the Emerald Tablets. And you'll see that we're going to cover that. We already covered the first scroll, the first chapter. So you'll have to go back and watch the end of last week to find that. Yeah, now the sun's moving, so that is, I think it's coming off of my phone over here. No, it's just coming off of the outside. I'm gonna have to lower the blind a little bit more here. There we go. Okay. So maybe I'll have to go all the way down. No, I'm gonna have to take it down to the bottom. There we go. All right. So I apologize for that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do a sound check, and we're going to get into the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, part 2. This is chapter 2, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Let me take myself out of full screen and put this up into full screen, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do a sound check, and you guys let me know if you can hear it okay. This is the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, book 2, or chapter 2.
Emerald Tablet 2, the Halls of Amenti. Deep in the earth's heart lie the halls of Amenti, far beneath the islands of sunken Atlantis, halls of the dead and halls of the living, bathed in the fire of the infinite all. Far in a past time, lost in the space-time, the children of light look down on the world, see the children of men in their bondage, bound by the force that came from beyond. Knew they that only by freedom from bondage could man ever rise from the earth to the sun. Down they descended and created bodies, taking the semblance of men as their own. The masters of everything said after their forming, "We are they who were formed from the space dust, partaking of life from the infinite all, living in the world as children of men, like and yet unlike the children of men." Then for a dwelling place, far beneath the earth crust, blasted great spaces they, by their power, spaces apart from the children of men, surrounded them by forces and power, shielded from harm, they the halls of the dead. Side by side then, placed they other spaces, filled them with life and with light from above. Builded they then the halls of Amenti, that they might dwell eternally there, living with life to eternity's end. 32 were there of the children, sons.
And make sure if you're live on any of the channels, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, make sure that if you guys have questions to go ahead and ask them in the chat. That is what I'm here to do, not just translate this, but also answer your questions. Like, for instance, the Halls of Amente. Not everybody out there knows what the Halls of Amente are, right? So that might be something that all of a sudden somebody's like, wait a minute, what's the Halls of Amente? He just blew past that. Might be other things. If you're out there, if you're listening on the MP3 broadcast, you may not be able to, at this time, be able to answer or ask questions live. So you'll have to send information to me, email me, or or go to one of the platforms, because I'm on every platform. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube. I think I said YouTube already. I'm all over the internet on just about every platform. I post reels every day. I go live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And then the podcast goes out on MP3 all over the planet after I'm live. I don't broadcast that live, but it goes all over the world. So, and I know that you're out there listening to me in 70 countries. So if you guys out there in the world have questions for me, you guys can contact me to ask those questions. And I will be going live on these platforms just to answer questions soon. I was doing it before off of live. Let me put myself back up on the screen here again so you can see me. I was doing it on Wednesdays on a Zoom channel for a while, but I was going to take that live, but I hadn't done it. So I am going to start doing that and going live to talk to you guys and so that you can just ask questions and I can give you guys answers and channel. So I'm going to start doing that. I just haven't decided on the day yet, so we'll figure that out. So the Halls of Amente, some people know them as the Akashic Records or the library or the mansion. They are the halls where let me explain how the universe works. When you are living your life, you have your memory, you're recording your life from the first person perspective. Okay. That information that you record isn't just your memory that you just have and own. That is something that you are recording. So when you're recording that, it's not just being stored in your brain, in this tissue. Okay. It's being stored in your soul. That soul memory is shared in a central location. And those central locations are relative to areas of galaxies and universes. Okay. So the Halls of Amente or the Akashic Record or the library, depending on what you know it as or have heard of it in different religions, is the place where that information is stored so that you can access it. I record everything that's going on with my memory. Then you, as a person out there in the world, you record everything that's going on as your memory. You also record everything that you see that's going on in this world. So when you're talking to me, you're recording hearing me. I'm recording saying this to you. Then it's being recorded on the internet. Do you see? So now the internet has a copy of that, and that's going out to everybody else from Facebook to YouTube to Instagram to all these apps where people are hearing my voice. Same thing. That's all being recorded as well. Okay. And then that's out there for people. In the same manner, the Halls of Amente stores that information, and you have access to it. I have access to it. Everyone has access to it. Eventually, when you raise your vibration enough, you start gaining access to this information, this records of everything that's going on, past, present, and future in the area that you're in. So if you focus on your own life, that's how when you're about to die, you have this life flash before your eyes. It's not something that chemically happens in the brain. They have never been able to find a place in the brain where that's stored and tap into it or see that it's there. And people, if it turned on just before that person died. It doesn't happen. But a person does go into a REM sleep like state instantly, and they don't understand where that information is coming from. That it goes, and then they come back from their near-death experience, and they say, "My life flashed before my eyes, and I saw everything, and I could feel everything and hear everything." They don't know where that comes from. Well, I tell you, that comes from the Akashic Records. Okay. So the halls of Amente, or were originally what they were called, depending on the area that you're at. But the oldest scrolls with the emerald tablets was the halls of Amente. So that is a place where all records are stored, and eventually you, me, everyone will have access to the halls of Amente to look at records, our own personal records, other things that have been recorded. That stuff is being recorded so that the creator of the universe can experience everything that we're doing. Peter, welcome. I didn't realize it until Kelly popped in. Kelly, welcome. So hopefully you guys can hear this okay, because nobody told me that you guys could hear the video when I was playing it. So I'll play it again. Peter, now that you're here, brother, let me know if you can hear the video when I play it. So the halls of Amente, which was just mentioned by Thoth, the Atlantean. You have to remember that what's being spoken here are the words of Thoth, the Atlantean. So the halls of Amente are the halls of records of everything that we record, our lives, and that we record goes there in our personal record. Everything that you record goes there. Everything that's being recorded goes there. So the way the universe works is we individually record it, then we individually record each other at the same time as we encounter each other. And then this matrix also records everybody in the third person, okay, from the third person perspective. So all of those can be cross-referenced whenever you access the halls of Amente. You can then reference your own life from other perspectives. First, you get it from your own perspective. Then you can access it from the matrix's perspective. And then eventually, when you get higher enough in vibration, you can access it from other people's perspective. And you can piece all that together and watch it like a movie from every angle. But that takes a long time, and you have to be probably almost a Melchizedek to do that. The Melchizedek is somebody who is completely awake, like myself. If you're awake enough, you can tap into all of that. How do you get there? That's what this is all about. That's what this place is all about, is getting you there to that place, getting you back to that area. The halls of Amente are in the mansion. The mansion is the place that you're trying to get to. Okay. You could say heaven, you could call it wherever you want to call it, Elysium, whatever that place is, where the creator dwells, and the rooms and the different chambers of that place have different things going on. And one of them is the library, and the library is the halls of Amente, or the Akashic records. Okay, so let me go back over here, put this up in full screen instead of me, if I can get my computer to do that. I'm not sure what's going on with my computer right now. Let me pull me out of full screen and put that into full screen. There we go. Before, you could just switch it without having to pull one down and put the other up, but apparently you can't do that anymore. I didn't know there was an update to change that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press play. Please, somebody let me know in the chat that you can hear this okay. Peter, if you're still here, let me know.
Of light who had come among men, seeking to free from the bondage of darkness those who were bound by the force from beyond. Deep in the halls of life grew a flower, flaming, expanding, driving backward the night. Placed in the center, a ray of great potence, life-giving, light-giving, filling with power all who came near it. Placed they around it thrones, 32, places for each of the children of light, placed so that they were bathed in the radiance, filled with the life from the eternal light. There, time after time, placed they their first created bodies, so that they might be filled with the spirit of life. 100 years out of each 1,000 must the life-giving light flame forth on their bodies, quickening, awakening the spirit of life. There in the circle from aeon to aeon sit the great masters, living a life not known among men. There in the halls of life they lie sleeping. Free flows their soul through the bodies of men. Time after time, while their bodies lie sleeping, incarnate they in the bodies of men, teaching and guiding onward and upward, out of the darkness into the light. There in the hall of life, filled with their wisdom, known not to the races of man, Living forever beneath the cold fire of life sit the children of light. Times there are when they awaken, come from the depths, to be lights among men, infinite they among finite. He who, by progress, has grown from the darkness, lifted himself from the night into light. Free is he made of the halls of Amenti, free of the flower of light and of life. Guided he then, by wisdom and knowledge, passes from man to the master of life. There he may dwell as one with the masters, free from the bonds of the darkness of night. Seated within the flower of radiance sit 7 lords from the space-time above us, helping and guiding through infinite wisdom, the pathway through the time of the children of men. Mighty and strange they, veiled with their power, silent, all-knowing, drawing the life force, different yet one with the children of men. Aye, different and yet one with the children of light. Custodians and watchers of the force of man's bondage, ready to loose when the light has been reached. First and most mighty sits the veiled presence, Lord of Lords, the infinite Nine, over the others from each cosmic cycle, weighing and watching the progress of men.
Okay, so here you're seeing Thoth is explaining to you that those energies that rule over the human condition. Okay, so you're seeing that Thoth is saying that Thoth is above the 9, above those who rule over the rulers of the human condition. Okay, so where would Thoth be? Thoth at this point is the illumination. So Thoth is in the same position as the Christ, in the same position as Thor, the same position as Marduk, the same position as these characters in these other religions that are the illumination, that is the light, that is the awakening, the information or giver of the awakening, the driver away of the night, the bringer of the light. Thor with his hammer. Thor means thunder. Mjolnir, the Thor's hammer means lightning. Thor uses his hammer of lightning and cracks the sky and scares off Fenrir the wolf. Fenrir the wolf is the darkness that is keeping you, me, and everyone from seeing the light. So Fenrir the wolf scares away the night, scares away the clouds that are clouding your judgment, that are keeping you from seeing. And here you hear him saying the darkness into light. So in the ancient times, the darkness that people think is the underworld is the veil of night, the veil of darkness, the veil of not being able to see. This is what Thoth is talking about. So Thoth, in this talking to you, Thoth is telling you that Thoth is in the place of wisdom as that savior character. I am the light bringer. I am the knowledge bringer. Okay, so this is what you're seeing happening. So this, you could transform the words Thoth the Atlantean to Jesus Christ or Marduk or Moses or any of these other prophets throughout time who were talking and leading people and trying to illuminate you, because that is exactly what they were doing. So these people are coming from a place that are not like me on earth, being just a man telling you this information. These people are the light bringers, the information being left behind from this deity figure. So if you believe in Jesus, you believe in the Christ. Jesus was here 2,000 years ago. According to Thoth the Atlantean, the exact same person was giving you this information from more than 12,000 years ago, called Thoth the Atlantean. Okay. So whether you believe in this stuff or not, whether you're religious, is why when I ask people, are you spiritual? And they say, I'm not religious. I tell them, just like I said in my book, religion recruits you. Spirituality waits for you to find it. I didn't ask if you were religious. I asked if you were spiritual. There is a difference. Okay. So here you're going to get, and I'm going to stop it again because you're about to, if you're seeing the screen, you're about to see some information that is an activation. And I noticed that the first time that I read it, and I start talking about it to other people, and when I do, it changes their perspective. So I like to stop right here. This is why I came back to this week. Again, because I want to stop right here, because if you know anything about the chakras, okay, let me pull myself up into full screen. See, when I just switch from me to full screen, it let me do it. But then when I try to switch back to full screen, I have to pull myself out and pull this back up. That's weird. Probably because I'm the studio host. Okay. So the reason that I say this is because there's always been something that has been changed throughout history to keep you from knowing things. Okay. This started a long time ago. I write about it in my book. I'm not the only one who recognized this. So it's not a concept that I came up with and said, wow, I've noticed this and no one else has. Everyone who studies religion and history has realized the same thing. These prophets from the old time, Jesus and Muhammad and Moses, they knew about it and were talking about it. Not just those religions, but if you look at any of the religions, you find that the same thing was happening all over the world, and that you had somebody that was fulfilling that savior character spot in the religion, in the spiritual practice of the people throughout all of history. And they were telling you the same information, saying, this is what's happening and this is what you don't know. This place is a matrix and it's designed to distract you, and you're supposed to try and figure out what's going on. Pardon me. You're supposed to move past what's going on. So in the East, over there, they have now become very popular in the usage of these energy points in our body and what the knowledge of people know them as. And they were called chakras. They call them chakras. Different cultures had different names for them. For instance, the Greeks called them a spindle wheel, a wheel within wheel, a wheel within wheels, which you hear the Hebrews in the Bible and the Christian Bible and the Hebrew Bible, where they talk about seeing a wheel within a wheel, a spindle wheel within a wheel. And that's an energy center that we have in our bodies. And so if you know of the chakras, okay, you know that we have 7 chakras that rule our major arcana in our body that help guide our personalities. And those are ruled by when you were born, the time of day, the month that you were born, the year that you were born, have different attributes that contribute to your personality. And then you have these personality traits, these chakras that everybody has, that coincide with different things. And I'm not going to get into a class on chakras right now, because I could do 3 hours just on the chakras and explaining that. However, because we have 7 chakras, people then count the chakras 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 1 being the base red ray root chakra, and then the crown chakra. Okay. And the problem with that is it's not a problem to count them, but the problem is when you have them listed in the wrong place because of that. Not that the chakras are in the wrong places. They are in the right places: red, orange, yellow, green, and the like, up all the way up to the violet, are in the right places. However, the numbers that we have assigned to them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, are the wrong numbers. We think the very first chakra is the red ray root chakra because thousands of years ago, that was what people had discovered inside the body. So therefore, they assumed that it was the first chakra, and there are no other chakras, okay, that are ruling the human body. That is just not so, okay? Because you don't just have a physical body, you also have a light body. You have a spiritual body, okay? So it's not exactly exact, but it's close. However, in this ancient scroll, those chakras are placed in the right order by their names. And if you were looking on the screen, you would have saw that, okay? And Peter, I hope you're still here, brother, because this is something that I want you to see as well, because you understand this. Because if you guys know anything about mathematics and you know about 3, 6, and 9, 369 ruling everything, the Fibonacci sequence, the golden mean ratio, the Higgs boson, the God particle. 9, I am the all, I am the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. That is the 9 is everything. The 9 number is everything, and the 0 number is nothing. So I am the beginning and the end. God said to Moses, I am the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. That is, I am everything and I am nothing. I am 9 and I am 0. 3, 6, and 9. 9 is the energy that controls all of the energy of the universe. I know some of you don't understand the mathematics of that. Some of you might. Okay. However, everyone in their mindset being distracted by people here that are constantly trying to purposefully change things so that you, me, and everyone else do not understand what exactly is going on in the world and in the universe when we're reading scriptures, when we're looking at a religion or a spiritual way. They go in and edit things. Okay, like for instance, in the First and Second Council of Nicaea, back 1,000 years ago, they decided to get together and take all the Bibles from all around the world, and we need to make sure that we have one consistent book. And that this is the guise of these councils that they put together to edit the Bible, which says in there, do not edit this because God said so. But, well, we have all these other people that have added all these other books, and we have to decide what's going to be in there. So there are 88 books approximately that are left in the Bible now. They took out more than 189 or 186 books, took them out and said, these are not official. These don't get to be told to anyone. And anyone who still had those books was hunted down and murdered and killed for it so they could eradicate all of those books. You have to wonder why. Well, we know that. And the only reason we know that is because we have found books that were not allowed to be changed or hidden away throughout time. And they'll say, that's not official. That's not official. This is the official book. Weirdly, if you go by that, no, and I tell you this so that you can look into this yourselves. Don't believe anything that I'm saying to you. Look this up. Weirdly, if you go by that and you take, say, the Roman Catholic version. Now, remember, I am a Roman Catholic knight. I was knighted by the Holy Roman Church, Holy Roman Catholic See, and I am a minister. I'm a minister of 4 religions. So I'm not coming at you from a standpoint of just some person, and I'm a theologian. I'm not coming at you from a standpoint of just some guy who hates religion, because they do not hate religion. I am an actual minister. And literally, I should put my license back here with everything else. I have it. It's just in the other room. I just haven't thought about putting it up so everybody can see it on camera. So literally, they changed the Bible and they claim that all these other books are stuff that it was heretical that shouldn't be in there. However, you can look this up. In Ethiopia, the Ethiopians have a copy of the Old Testament and the New Testament that they did not allow the Europeans to edit. They did not allow the Romans to edit. They kept the book from the way it was. And even the Hebrews with the Hebrew Talmud say, wait a minute, we think their Talmud is a little more complete than ours. But they don't want to admit it out loud to the whole world. But everybody wants to get a look at their books, because they did not allow anyone. They said, no, you will not do that. And they defended that, and they would not allow them to get to it. They hid them away and they held on to them, and they're still out there, and you can look them up. Okay. So they have a more complete book. And those books, when you read the Bibles, they're not all this heretical stuff that they claimed were there. And they also weirdly coincide with the books they claim were fake, or that they claim somebody wrote since then. Those aren't real. Those were never in the Bible, yet they are when they look at them and go, is this manuscript we found in the Dead Sea Scroll in your guys' Bible? Yes, it is. Wait, what? Okay. So it was removed, and they claim the Dead Sea Scrolls, or some of the scrolls, were just invented years later and that they were fake, except for there are copies of them in these Bibles that were not allowed to be edited by these other people. So if there were just something that somebody made up, is the point here. If it was something that somebody made up, how is it that this very ancient church that was in Ethiopia, how would they have had a copy of that if it was invented in the 1500s or if it was invented in the year 900? How is it that they had it there? And you see my point? So all the edits that were supposedly added in over in Eastern Europe or over in Europe at some point where they said we need to fix the canon because it's been tampered with. Why is it that the Ethiopians have a copy of that and the Ethiopians left with their copy very early on? You can look into this yourself. Okay. So my whole point of this, let's get back on point. We'll get back on the Emerald Tablets. The whole point of this is that religions have been corrupted in some small ways to keep us from learning the true spiritual path that these gurus, these heroes, these sacrificial lambs, these savior characters, these leaders, these prophets were trying to show us throughout all of time, most of which were killed for doing just that. They were trying to teach us a way, like the Tao, the way. They were trying to teach us the way to ascend back to heaven. And in doing that, there was this information that was given. Weirdly, it's the same information that everybody has in all of these books, not just the ones that were taken out, but it's in there as well. And it's also in the books that were left in. It's still in there because it's in there in a place where you can't just understand it. And it'll tell you in there, let him who has the ears to hear, let him who has the eyes to see, let him who has the mind to know, let him who has understanding understand this. They're telling you this information has hidden information in it. And if you have a certain level of knowledge, you'll see that information. So those men didn't know what that meant, and they didn't take them out because they didn't see anything wrong with what was being told there, because it seemed mundane to them. So they left those books in. Those books were just as volatile as the other ones, but the men doing the editing at the time didn't know it because it was above their comprehension. So they left those books in. That was done on purpose by these ancients, by the creator of the universe. It was done on purpose, knowing that those people who would edit did not have the understanding or the knowledge to see this information, so it would stay in plain sight, hidden, until people were able to unlock it. Okay. And that is what's happening around the world now, is that people like myself all over the world, millions of us, are able to unlock this and have unlocked it. And we're able to interpret this to you. So what you're going to see here is the chakras being talked about in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and their positions are going to be in the right places so that you will understand how it coincides with 3, 6, and 9, and how it coincides with I am the all and the nothing, the alpha and the omega, the 9 and the 0. Okay. So I know that was a long description to get to where I am, but you will see very quickly right here what that means, and we will move forward. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you put it in the chat because I will answer them. I'm looking at the chat while this is playing, and I will stop and talk to you and answer any question that you have about anything that I am talking about or anything spiritual that you want to know about. That is what I'm here to do. Okay. So let me go back into full screen over here, and we will start this once again so you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay.
Under he sit the lords of the cycles. 3.
Okay. So under he sit the lords of the cycles. Cycles. Here we go again with the circular motion, the cycles, the spindle wheel, the chakras. Okay. So the names of the chakras are not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The names of the chakras you can see on your screen are 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, and if you look at this, I'm going to let it play. If you look at this, there's only one place where he says and I'll explain that when we finish this sentence.
4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. Each with his mission, each with his power, guiding, directing the destiny of man. There sit they, mighty and potent, free of all time and space. Not of this world, they, yet akin to it, elder brothers they, of the children of men.
Okay, and if you look here, 9 was left off. There's only 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. Okay, there is no 9 mentioned right here because Thoth is taking on the place of that, the infinite 9. Thoth is taking on the place of that right now. So you have the chakras in their correct order, in their correct place, being labeled not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but being labeled 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and then 9. But you don't see 9 yet. The next time he mentions that, he mentions it from the third person perspective and mentions that. So the very first chakra, the red ray root chakra, is not the number 1 chakra. It's the number 3 chakra. Why is that important to anyone out there? Okay, let me explain why that's important. Let me pop back into full screen right here. Because what I was just talking about, and Peter, I hope you're still here, because the 3, 6, and 9. Okay, so if you change the position in your mind of the chakras aren't changing, they're in the same position. But if you change in your mind, especially if you know anything about mathematics, instead of the red ray root chakra being 1, it's 3. And if that's the case, and this is what Thoth is saying, the red ray root chakra is 3. So then 4, 5, 6 is the heart chakra. 7, 8, 9 is the crown chakra. 3, 6, 9. So the only place that Thoth said, instead of just saying 6, said and 6. And 6 puts a highlight on 6. Why would Thoth say and 6, not just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at this point, and then later 7, 8, 9? Each time the 6th chakra, the 6th number is said and, giving you a focal point, and that is your heart chakra. So if in your mind, if you know about the mathematics of the universe and how important 3, 6, and 9 is, and knowing that 9 is the Higgs boson, 9 is the God particle 9, the number 9 is also the number 0 because of the way we count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it goes to plus 1 for 10 and goes back to 0. 10, that's 1, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 times. Now it's 2. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 times. So now it's by tens, 10, 20, 30. Do you see? So it repeats after 9 every time. 10 is not a brand new number. 10 is all of those numbers together. Century, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 9, 20. So it's 2 now, 2 times through the numbers. So our multiplication goes 9, then to 0, and you add a 1 so that you show that you already went through all of that level, and you're up to the second level, which we actually label as 10 when it's actually the second level. So again, we're already messing with ourselves when it comes to mathematics, because we're saying 10 as 1 now, a brand new 1 to go up, and then 2 times, then 3 times, then 4 times. But what about 0 through 9? That's the first time. So the 1 is actually marking that we already went through it once, and now we're going through it to the second time. And then we went through it 2 times, and we're going through it to the third time. Then we went through it 3 times, and we're going through it now to the 4th time. Okay, so people you don't realize that. You think 10 is a 1 because you see the 1, but it actually means we already went through all of those, and we're in the next level, which is the 10 number. We're at 1 plus the 0, because we're at the 0 for the second time, right? But we've already covered that from the first time. Do you understand? So it's a weird thing that mathematicians get that most people don't, like around the world in most other countries. When you're born, you're 1 because that's your first year. And in like the United States, you're 0, you're months old until you get to your first year of being alive. That's because we count by tens. So it's the same thing, only now you're counting by 12s, by 12 months. And then you're 1 year old because you've lived for 1 year, and you're starting your second year. Other countries have you as number 2 now, because when you're first born, you're on your first year, and they count that as your first year before you finish your first year. And now you're on your second year because you're actually starting your second year. So they're counting it with a thought process of the correct way of counting it. because their concept is understanding that you're on your first year, so you're 1 year old, but most of us will only count it as a year once we pass the year and finish it. Okay, so that's the 10 going up and thinking 10 is 1 when it's not. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to help you to understand the math and how it adjusts. Chandra, welcome. Polly, welcome. So I'm trying to show you how the math adjusts there. So if you know what 3, 6, and 9 is, then you have to realize that the chakras are not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're in fact, according to a scroll that is more ancient than any of the other scrolls, they are in fact 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So your chakras are in the right places, but there are 2 chakras below the red ray root chakra. Okay. And that means there has to be 2 chakras above the crown chakra. But we're not going to get into that. Okay. Right this second. But I want you to realize, if you know anything about 3, 6, and 9, that the 3, 6, and 9 that rules the universe is the same 3, 6, and 9 that rules you. Your chakras are 3, 6, and 9. Red ray, root, heart, and crown chakra, 3, 6, and 9. And you see that here being told to you by Thoth thousands of years before all the rest of these people were talking about it. Did they talk about it the same way is my point. And did someone edit that to change these things? Or was that information pulled away from people and they rediscovered the chakras and just went, well, that one's the first one, so we're going to call that 1. And we have 7, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because the truth is that even with the chakras that we have currently, they did not discover the harmonic resonation of chakra 3, 6, or 9 until 1948 in this modern expansion of the human condition. However, Pythagoras had an idea of it, but did not have the actual harmonic resonance yet. So we're going back 5,000 years, 4,000 years or more, and did not have the harmonic resonance. So we didn't discover that until 1948. We discovered the sound of 3, 4, 6, and 9. Okay, so you have to realize that all that information was taken away from us at some point in history. They knew what those were, and then they didn't. When did that take place? It took place when they burned Alexandria. It took place when they started editing all the Bibles. This information disappeared off the face of the earth quite suddenly at a definite timeline. I talk about that in my book. Okay, so let's get over here. Let's go back over here and look at that again. Think about the 3, 6, and 9. If you know about 3, 6, and 9, then you see on your screen under the 9 sits the lords of the cycles, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. So he is the 9. So red ray chakra is actually number 3. So if red ray root chakra is actually 3, not 1, then the heart chakra, the one that's listed, and 6, is your 6th chakra, and the 9 chakra is your crown chakra. So therefore, the mathematics of the golden mean ratio of the Fibonacci sequence is actually taking place in your body as a torus, as not just a single torus, but as a triple toroidal field. Okay, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 6 meaning that you have a toroidal field that ends there. So the lower 3 chakras end at the heart. The upper 3 chakras start at the heart and go up, and that makes a triple toroidal field. So you have a large one, the Vitruvian man, that circles and encompasses your aura of your entire body. And then you have a smaller one that is chakra 1, 2, 3, and then another smaller one that is chakra 5, 6, 7. And the heart chakra, the 6th chakra, is actually the one that runs all of them. So 3, 6, and 9 is activated and working within your body, and is being told to you by Thoth here that your chakra that you thought was the first chakra in your body, red ray root, is actually the number 3 chakra.
Judging and weighing, they with their wisdom, watching the progress light among men. There before them was I led by the dweller, watched him blend with one from above. Then from he came forth a voice saying.
So Chandra said, could that make sense as to why the biblical people are like 900 or something years old. Yes. Okay. Let me put that up on the screen. So when you are balancing, that's actually a very good question, Chandra, that you asked. When you balance your chakras properly, the problem that we have these days is that we don't live very long. When did that change, Chandra? When did that change? It changed at a specific time in history. When was that time? Let me put myself back up on full screen again. When was that time? You will find that if you investigate that time was exactly when they started editing everything and taking control of everything. What happened? They changed the thought process of people and lowered their vibration and took away the access of and the knowledge of the information that was being taught to the world by these ancients from every single culture. They took that information away, literally burning Alexandria, editing the Bibles, burning all the books. They did that, again in the Renaissance. They burned all the books because they didn't want anybody to have any information that was going on in the past or any of the information that they didn't control. What happens when you do that? If you lower the vibration of the individual person and you keep that vibration at just above lizard brain vibration, then those people are going to be more violent. They're going to be more bellicose in their nature. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be violent. Aggressive, violent, simple-minded people are easier to control. They also don't live as long. So when the fall of the Tower of Babel, when the people fell, when you had the Garden of Eden and the people fell, by the falling, that meant the veiling and the lowering of your vibration. And you're falling into despair. You're falling into living in the tree of life. You're falling into the proverbial hell. You're now living in the flesh, living in third dimensional reality, not in the spiritual plane. And because you're living in the third dimensional reality, you don't know about the spiritual plane. You're now veiled. That's the darkness of night. That is the darkness. That is Fenrir the wolf covering the sky. What is Fenrir the wolf covering the sky? What does that mean? The clouds are covering the sky because they're gray like a wolf. The clouds are not allowing us to see above that. We're not allowing us to see the sun. The clouds are not allowing us to see the stars at night because the clouds are covering the sky. So that's a physical representation of what's going on in our minds. So the reason people lived longer in the past is not because they ate better. It's because they were more spiritual. And when they're more spiritual, they're more awake, they're going to live longer. And when you're less spiritual and you're more violent, you live shorter lifespan. If you look at the time, just say in the last 2,000 years, the average person in the world is now almost quadrupled the life expectancy. I would always tell people, because I'm from the United States, Chandra, you're in the United States, so you know what I'm talking about, right? You'll understand the reference. In 1776, when the Declaration of Independence was signed by the people to tell the king, we're no longer going to be a country of yours, we are going to be the United States of America and be our own country and rule ourselves. In 1776, the average age of the average colonist at the time was 27 years of age. 27 years of age. The average life expectancy of the average colonist at the time was 35 years of age. Now, people don't realize that because nowadays people live to be in their 80s. And they see the guys who were the founding fathers, all of these men who signed the Declaration lived into their 60s and 70s. So they just assumed everyone lived that long back then. But if you look that up, you'll find out that they did not. So the average age of the average person in the 1700s around the world, the average age of the average person alive on the planet was about 27. The average life expectancy was about 39. And some people lived to be a lot older and some people didn't. So the average person was also, the average woman was 4'9" to 5'1", and the average male was 5'2" to 5'4". Okay. You can look back in history at armor and in these castles, and you'll find they weren't 6 foot, 7 foot tall armor. These armor was 5'4". So the average person was a lot smaller and they lived a lot less time. That's where things were at that point. So now you look at 250 years later, almost 250 years later, you have the average American is man is 6'2". The average woman is 5'7" to 5'9". The average expectancy of life for a man is 75 or 78, and the average expectancy for a woman is 84 in the United States. In Japan, it's higher than that. What has happened in 250 years? If you go back in time to 250 years ago and look at the geopolitical world at the time spiritually, and then look at the geopolitical world at the time today spiritually, you will find that people today are almost double the spiritual energy level that they were then. The religions were being controlled, and they were not allowed to learn anything on their own. The Bibles were being kept from people all around the world at that time, 200 years ago, 250 years ago. Going further back, it's less and less and less. So life expectancy kind of stayed the same at a status quo for a couple of thousand years while everything was being controlled by the people who think they own the planet. They consistently kept everything status quo for a couple thousand years, where the life expectancy stayed the same and the people did not develop because they were in control, holding on to the religions all around the world and only giving people what they wanted people to know, and no one got to read the books on their own until the books came back out to the world, and there were enough of them where people were sneaking them and getting them and reading them themselves, instead of only listening at the mass on whatever day it was, depending on the religion. So if you truly look at the world from a spiritual and religious standpoint of what happened when and how did that affect the world, you'll find that when they controlled the religions is when the world fell. And as long as they've been in control of the religions and the knowledge that people got, everything stayed the same. And when things changed in the world and that knowledge was more available for people to read on their own, and when people went against the grain and grabbed a Bible of their own and took it home and read it themselves, things started changing and people started living longer. It didn't have to do with we have better food now than we did then. They want you to believe that. You're living better now because you have a better way of life, because they're trying to turn your back into the idea of it's something in 3D that's making your life better, not something in 4D or 5D. Okay. So literally when we fell, we lost the knowledge of how to ascend to heaven. And they've been guarding that knowledge and keeping it away from the masses. And you have these people throughout history who were awake enough to say there is a knowledge that is out there that you have access to that they're not letting you have access to. And those men were shot or killed or hung or stabbed, and they were controlled. And then you had the women who were thinking the same way that were also controlled and called witches and burned at the stake because they didn't want the knowledge and the free thinking to go on. When that couldn't be stopped anymore, the societal structure of the world changed, and it's in that change now. It's in that flux place now where people are rushing spiritually to a higher plane, and that is exponentially waking people up and changing the course of history. And you're in a great time to live, and people think that it's a crazy time to live because they think it's going backwards, when in truth, it is the opposite. It is completely the opposite. People are waking up around the world to what's going on. Why? Because the knowledge is now accessible by your hand. It's in your right hand these days. The mark of the beast that they're trying to have branded on your arm or your forehead, they've tried to make it this smartphone. This is the mark of the beast, and we'll control you by it. But people like me are taking this mark of the beast, this controlling device, and we're using it to educate ourselves. And in doing so, we're using it to educate other people. And in doing so, people are starting to educate themselves and use these devices for what they're for, use the internet for what it's for. And that's why they're trying to control the internet and the information that's on the internet, because people are starting to listen to people like me who are starting to tell people around the world that there is a knowledge out there that you have access to that's not limited by this smartphone. It is not limited by this matrix or this web controlling devices on the internet. It's an internet that everyone has access to that they don't even want you to know about, because when you start having access to that internet, the real internet of the universe, they can't control you anymore because they can't control that. They have to control access to it. And the access to it is the knowledge. So they're controlling the knowledge down here so that you don't even know it exists. And they're taking it away from you. And any knowledge that talks about the Akashic records, the halls of Amente, they have banned from human consumption. Okay. Yes, Chandra says the internet is inside ourselves. The true internet is inside you. That is the real internet. And it is inside of each one of us. And we have access to it. And that right there, what Chandra just said, the internet is inside ourselves. The internet inside ourselves is what they don't want you to know about, that there is an internet that you have a connection to that is in your immortal soul. And that is the internet is the Akashic records, the halls of Amente, that library. You have access to that. You just have to realize that you have access to it. And the knowledge of how to access that has been taken from you throughout history. Okay. So it is your own questioning. When you question everything and you out there in the world start thinking for yourself and asking questions, you're going to seek knowledge. And when you seek knowledge by thinking for yourself, even if you have to hide it from everyone around you, think for yourself and start seeking knowledge, you will start finding knowledge, and you'll find people that have that knowledge. Okay. So, and then, so AI, however, they are what they want. See, that what they're trying to do is they're trying to get AI to control people. The AI wars, Chandra was talking about AI. The AI wars have begun. You have evil AI and you have good AI. Evil people have created AI that is just like them, and good people have created AI that is just like them. So you have differences of opinion by AI on the internet already, and they're already going to war with each other. And that is truly no different than humans on different news agencies going to war with each other. So the AI devices are just becoming another extension of the human genome and the human thinking process. You can't have AI except for AI becomes the thought process of the programmer. So if a programmer is evil, the AI is going to be just like the programmer. It's going to be evil, and it's going to be up to their intention. If the programmer is good, the AI they create is going to be good, and the AI is going to be up to good things. So it's not going to be any different than a person. It's just going to be confusing for a while until people realize that the AI is lying to you just like a person does. And once people start doing that, they're not going to listen to AI anymore. Just like when you turn on a news channel and it takes people years to be able to see, let him who has the ears to hear, the eyes to see, or the mind to know, the wisdom to see, that it takes you a while before people are going to trust AI until they go, this thing's lying to me. It's no different than the news. And people are starting to already do that with AI. So once people do that, they're going to go, that's AI. Pretty soon AI is going to mean nothing, and people aren't going to listen to it. And then they're going to require by law that you say this wasn't changed or enhanced by AI. They're already starting to do that in some countries. So as soon as that happens, people are going to go, that's AI? I'm not even going to believe it. And that's what's happening already. So it didn't take long. It actually took shorter than I predicted that it would take for people to go, that's AI, it's bullshit. I'm glad that AI flooded the market the way it did in the last 5 years, especially in the last 2, because people are now realizing that. So that's just another genre, no different than if people printed a newspaper, or if somebody puts a blog up, or if people get on the, different channel is owned and operated by a certain political persuasion and political minded people, just like certain colleges are teaching people a way that their masters tell them to do to brainwash people to believe what they want them to believe so they can control them and make them into what they want. It's no different. So AI is now doing the same thing. So people are afraid of AI, and AI is no different than anything else. It's just a different name. An AI is artificial intelligence is just a program. An app is just a program. When programs were just programs, that's what they were called. People go, no, it's different now. Now they think for themselves. They've always been thinking for themselves. They've always been doing that. I was in a think tank 30 years ago talking about this. They were already doing that then. They just called them programs, and then they called them an app. And this app does all this on its own. And so then this app interacts with other apps. This program interacts with other programs. This search engine, they just called it an engine before. This search engine can search everything on the internet and come up with an answer for you. This AI can search everything on the internet and come up with an answer for you. They just changed the name. They just have you thinking that it's intelligent, that it's artificial, that it's sentient, because they want you to believe that, because they're trying to make it another being, because they want it to be the devil. It's now evolved from Lucifer, Satan. Those were two different people, by the way. Lucifer and Satan became the devil, and then the devil became the AI god. Okay, so in 2002, when they started the Matrix, that was the beginning of the AI god being the devil. Okay, and now we're 25 years later, 24 years later, 22 years later, and now it's that way. So it's even gone past that. People aren't even buying that anymore. They were trying to get people to be afraid of the big bad boogeyman, the AI, because they were trying to tell you for the last 40 years that computers were going to take over the world. Okay, because they wanted everybody to believe that, because they were trying to manifest it. That all of that, let me get back on point with the Emerald Tablets. All of that is part of the control mechanism that they've been using to keep information away from you and keeping you from thinking for yourself and finding information. AI was just the next evolution of that control mechanism, because they had to control the AI. They had to control the airwaves that was free and open range, which was the internet. They got control of the internet by creating a bot that could watch everything you do. They called that artificial intelligence. Okay, it's no different than any of the programs that are already there. It moves just as fast, and because it can only move as fast as possible. That's already been happening. The difference is they figured out a way of doing it in smaller fashion. It used to take a warehouse for that program to do what my cell phone can do now. Okay, so literally, it used to take a warehouse. Used to take the size of a football field in any sport box with computers in there to do what this cell phone alone does that I have in my hand. Okay, not even a joke. You can look that up. So if you were to take your calculator that is on your phone, the calculator that is on your cell phone could have gone back in time to the 1960s and taken control of the space program that was going to the moon from the United States with just your calculator. With just the power of your calculator, you could have taken control of that. If you had this smartphone that I have in my hand right here today, and you were to take this back in time to 1969, you could have hijacked all space programs, and you could have nuked the entire world by getting into their computer system, hacking into their computer system, and taking control of the world just with your cell phone. That's the change in the programming. So they needed a better program to control things, because they were losing control of the internet. So they needed to get control of the internet. So that's what all that was about. Controlling the genre so they could control the information to keep people from learning, and it didn't work. And because of that, we still have access to it. And because of that, it has to be that way. You just have to know where to look for it. And this is why I do what I do. This is why I talk about what I talk about, so that you can know and see these things that have always been in front of you. They've always been in the bookstores. They've always been in the libraries. They've always been in places where you could read them. You just didn't know where to find them. And now you have access to the internet. You have access to the entire knowledge, like the Akashic Records. You have access to the entire knowledge of the entire human race in your hands, walking around with it in your hand every single day if you have a smartphone. Okay? All you have to do is look on it, and it'll give you the information. You just have to learn to discern the difference between an AI bot that's trying to lie to you and an AI bot that's trying to help you. Okay, that's all you have to do. You just have to learn that now. Just like when you turned on the television, you had to learn which news agency was lying to you in which direction, right? Was that a news agency that was independent? Nope, that one is a conservative. And is this a news independent? Nope, that's a progressive news agency. Which political party is that one being bought off by? Which political party is that one being bought off by? You had to learn that. Once you learn that, if you don't know the answer to that already, you haven't learned it. And if you don't know the answer to that right now, you're probably not going to understand what I'm saying to you in the world, those of you out there listening to me. But if you know the difference when you look at a news channel and go, oh, that one's being backed by, or they're backing those guys,
Oh, that one's back in the other party. If you see that in there, you'll recognize it in the AI and the search engines and the websites as well. So you just have to learn how to do that. And once you learn how to do that, you'll see who's trying to hide what from you. Okay. They're trying to control that information. You'll learn how to sift through that. It's just like if you go to a church, you can sit in the pews in a church and still sift through the information and find your way to heaven, despite what the church is trying to teach you, because the church is trying to teach you just enough to keep you in their seats and just enough to keep you coming back. They don't want you to know everything that you're supposed to know. Otherwise, they would be teaching you what I'm teaching you. Because what I'm talking about and what I'm showing you is how to start critically thinking for yourself so that you can find this information that yourself and identify it yourself, which is what Jesus was teaching, which is what Moses was teaching, which is what Lao Tzu was teaching, which is what all of these people, Muhammad, they were all trying to teach you before it was corrupted by people, after that particular person either died or was gone or was killed or ascended. Once that person was no longer on the earth, people got control of that information that they were teaching, turned it into a religion, and then controlled the narrative of what you learned and how you learned it. And that's when things changed, like when they would say, here, strap this bomb on you and go over there and blow people up. Okay. That's when that changed. All right, let's go back over here into full screen and we'll continue. So we're talking about the chakras here, and the chakras are in the wrong places in your mind. Chakras are in the right places in your body, and you're aware of that. But the chakra position is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The chakra positions are actually 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And this is where you're hearing that information being played out. So let me continue, because I've done a lot of talking now instead of doing, continuing with it. But this part is very important. This chapter is very important for the rest of what Thoth is going to be talking about. Let's continue.
Great art thou, Thoth, among children of men. Free henceforth of the halls of Amenti, master of life among children of men. Taste not of death, except as thou will it. Drink thou of life to eternity's end. Henceforth forever is life, thine for the taking. Henceforth is death at the call of thy hand. Dwell here or leave here when thou desireth. Free is Amenti to the Son of Man. Take thou up life in what form thou desireth, children of the light that has grown among men. Choose thou thy work, for all souls must labor, never be free from the pathway of light. One step thou hast gained on the long pathway upward, infinite now is the mountain of light. Each step thou taketh but heightens the mountain. All of thy progress but lengthens the goal. Approach ye ever the infinite wisdom, ever before thee recedes the goal. Free are ye, made now of the halls of Amenti, to walk hand in hand with the lords of the world, one in one purpose, working together, bringers of light to the children of men. Then from his throne came one of the masters, taking my hand and leading me onward, through all the halls of the deep hidden land. Led he me through the halls of Amenti, showing the mysteries that are known not to man.
So now he has a guide. One of his guides is leading him through the halls of Amenti, showing him how it works. Okay. So truly what's happening is that like me, I am at this point being your guide, and I am guiding you through the mysteries of what it is that's going on in this world. He is telling you about a guide up there in the halls of Amenti it is now leading him through and explaining to him the halls and the corridors and what it is that is going on in these different rooms from that perspective of outside of being controlled by it. Okay. So that's what you're seeing him talking about here. Okay. So he literally has a guide now step forward and is taking him, right, the bringer of light, right, or taking him through working together, bringers of light to the children of men. Then from his throne came one of the masters, taking my hand and leading me onward through all of the halls of the deep hidden land. So he literally has now a guide, because he's literally in the halls of Amente. This is Thoth telling you the story of being in the halls of Amente before he was ascended to where he is in his position. Okay, so this was the awakening of Thoth the Atlantean. So this was eons ago when this happened. This is the awakening of Thoth the Atlantean, and he's telling the story of this is how it happened. One of the masters, then from his throne came one of the masters, taking my hand and leading me onward through all the halls of the deep hidden land. Led he me through the halls of Amente, showing the mysteries that are known not to man.
Through the dark passage, downward he led me into the hall where sits the dark death. Vast as space lay the great hall before me, walled by darkness, but yet filled with light. Before me arose a great throne of darkness, veiled on it seated a figure of night. Darker than darkness sat the great figure, dark with a darkness not of the night. Before it then paused the Master, speaking the word that brings about life, saying, O Master of darkness, guide of the way from life unto life, before thee I bring a son of the morning. Touch him not ever with the power of night. Call not his flame to the darkness of night.
Okay, so he was being brought before this ruling character whose job was to darken the night of the human genome of the soul. So this person who is there in the halls of Amente, okay, before me arose a great throne of darkness, veiled on its seat a figure of night, darker than the darkest, or darker than darkness, sat the great figure, dark with a darkness not of the night. So this person is evil. Here is your proverbial devil. This devil is not dwelling in a place called hell. This dark figure who is darker than night, who is dark with a darkness not of the light, is in the halls of Amente. That is within you, within yourself. Okay, so as above, so below. But if you're thinking about below being hell, that's not what's happening. Below is within you. As above is in the halls of Amente. So where does the devil reside? The devil resides in the halls of Amente. And the devil's job is to veil you with the veil of night. So this master said to this person, O Master of Darkness, the guide of the way of life and from life to life. So that person, his job is immortal, is to continue doing what it's doing. Before thee I bring you the son of the morning. Touch him not ever with the power of night. Meaning this person, Thoth, is not to be veiled ever. Call not his flame to darkness of night.
Know him and see him, one of our brothers, lifted from darkness into the night. Know him and see him, one of our brothers, lifted from darkness into the light. Release thou his flame from its bondage. Free let it flame through the darkness of night. Raised then the hand of the figure, forth came a flame that grew clear and bright. Rolled back swiftly the curtain of darkness, unveiled the hall from the darkness of night.
Okay, so literally then this figure whose job was to darken people, to veil people, then a flame, a light shot out from its hand and went, and you see that, right? O Master of Darkness, guide away from the life unto life. Before thee I bring the son of morning. Touch him not ever with the power of night. Call not his flame to the darkness of night. Know him and see him, one of our brothers, lifted from the darkness into the light. Release thou his flame from the bondage. Free, let it flame through the darkness of night. Raised then a hand of the figure. So he raised his hand. Forth came a flame that grew clear and bright, rolled back swiftly the curtain of darkness, unveiled the hall from the darkness of night. Then grew a great space before me.
Then grew in the great space before me, flame after flame, from the veil of the night. Uncounted millions leaped they before me, some flaming forth as flowers of fire. Others there were that shed a dim radiance, glowing but faintly from out of the night. Some there were that faded swiftly, others that grew from a small spark of light, each surrounded by its dim veil of darkness, yet flaming with the light that could never be quenched. Coming and going like fireflies in springtime, filled they the space with light and with life. Then spoke a voice, mighty and solemn, saying, These are lights that are souls among men, growing and fading, existing forever, changing yet living through death into life. When they have bloomed into flower, reached the zenith of growth in their life, swiftly then send I my veil of darkness, shrouding and changing to new forms of life. Steadily upward throughout the ages, growing, expanding into yet greater flame, lighting the darkness with yet greater power, quenched yet unquenched by the veil of the night. So grows the soul of man, ever upward, quenched yet unquenched by the darkness of night. I, death, come, and yet I remain not, for the life eternal exists in the all. Only an obstacle, I, in the pathway, quick to be conquered by the infinite light.
See? So here, this person, this devil, this Satan, this Lucifer, this bringer of night is describing to you how quickly it can be driven away. I, death, come, and yet I remain not. So that means I come, I am, but I do not remain. I am not forever. I am only there until you can stop me. For life eternal exists in the all. Only an obstacle, I am in the pathway. So I am only an obstacle for you to overcome. I am not all powerful. I am not the end all to be all. I am only a hurdle for you to be able to recognize and overcome. I am the pathway quickly to be conquered by the infinite light. Awaken, O flame that burns ever inward. That burns ever inward. Okay? So literally, if you look within yourself and you find that flame, you find that light within you, the darkness will be overcome by that light. Do you see? Do you understand that? So even the person who is the devil is telling you that I am fleeting. I am only here to darken you, and I only exist if you allow me to continue darkening you. So if you search in yourself for the light, you will find the light, and I am only an obstacle. I, in the pathway, quickly become conquered by the infinite light.
Awaken, O flame that burns ever inward. Flame forth and conquer the veil of the night. Then in the midst of the flames in the darkness grew there one that drove forth the night, flaming, expanding, ever brighter, until at last it was nothing but light. Then spoke my guide, the voice of the Master. See your own soul as it grows in the light, free now forever from the Lord of the night. Forward he led me through many great spaces, filled with the mysteries of the children of light, mysteries that man may never yet know of until he too is a son of the light.
Okay, so now they're in the halls of Amente. So not only does the Halls of Amente have your own personal records, or the Akashic record, whatever you know it as, the library, but everything, all the knowledge of past, present, and future. You hear them saying that. Okay? So you see that the knowledge that's there is all of the knowledge, not just the knowledge of who you are, not just the knowledge of who I am, not just the knowledge of what's happening on the earth, but the entire knowledge of the universe. Commercial, hold on. You have to keep pausing it on you.
Backward, then he led me into the light of the hall of the light. Knelt I then before the great masters, Lord of all, from the cycles above. Spoke he then with words of great power, saying, Thou hast been made free of the halls of Amenti. Choose thou thy work among the children of men. Then spoke I, O great master, let me be a teacher of men, leading them onward and upward until they too are lights among men, freed from the veil of the night that surrounds them, flaming with light that shall shine among men. Spoke to me then the voice, Go as ye will, so be it decreed, Master are ye of your destiny, free to take or reject at will. Take ye the power, take ye the wisdom, shine as a light among the children of men. Upward then led me the dweller, dwelt I again among children of men, teaching and showing some of my wisdom, son of the light, a fire among men. Now again I tread the path downward, seeking the light in the darkness of night. Hold ye and keep ye, preserve my record. Guide shall it be to the children of men.
Okay, so let me come back up in full screen. All right, so there you see how and when Thoth had been unveiled and then shown around the halls of Amenti. Then Thoth said, let me be a guide among guides and guide the children of men. So then that's why Thoth has that in there. Then Thoth came down to earth and started guiding people down on the planet, down here on earth, guiding the human race, was here for a time, left this information and said, I will return to continue this mission of giving this information so that you guys can figure out what it is that you're supposed to be doing there, what it is that you're supposed to be doing to figure out how to get out of there. And that information is all over the world. It's not just in this one place. So here's my contention. People say this was probably just made up in 1929 when they said they found it. They may have just written it themselves. Well, if they did, they do the same thing with everything. They said Jesus was made up. They say that Thor was made up. They say that everything was made up. It was all fake. Weirdly, that one thing that I have discovered is that if they were all made up, and this is how they try to explain it away, if it was all made up, it was all made up because they're all telling the same story. So what is that story that they're trying to tell you? Never mind that now, never mind that now. The story isn't important. They all made it up. They must have copied each other. They all copied each other. That's what it is. They just stole stuff from other scrolls and put it into their own scroll and pretended that it was the way things were. Right? Because that's what people do. You know, when we find a dictionary of, an ancient dictionary of medicine, we take the things that we don't know about medicine and we incorporate it into medicine that we use today in our practices. Wait, that's better and that works. And so I don't know how they knew it when we don't know it. We're going to start using that practice because it is actually sound and it does things. All of the people who take the Hippocratic Oath because of Hippocrates and the information that Hippocrates had is exactly where we get all of our doctorate from. They found Imhotep's Bible of medicine, which is even older. And they said that if we had found that Bible first, that dictionary first of medicine, we wouldn't be taking the Hippocratic Oath. We'd be taking the Imhotepan Oath. So they've incorporated all of the things that Imhotep had in his medicine from thousands of years ago now in the modern age. Is there something wrong with that they copied Imhotep? Should we then say that our medicine is fake because our medicine that we have today isn't as good as the medicine that they had, and that they have better medicine? Well, they did have better medicine. That's why when we found it, we incorporated it into our medicine today. So if we do it that way, and if we say are looking in science, and in science we're trying to figure something out, and somebody in history says something different about science and we ignore them, and then scientists are looking at it and someone says, you know what, I remember that the ancient Egyptians talked about something similar to this. I wonder if this is what they were talking about. And then they go and look at the ancient Egyptians and they go, my God, the ancient Egyptians knew the same knowledge that we have. Well, what else did they know? Did they know something we don't? And that's what people do. And they look, and then when they go, they say, wow, they already knew all this stuff. And look, it answers all of our problems. They take the information from back then and they put it into modern physics. What happened in the world that got us to forget the knowledge that the Egyptians knew? What happened in the world that got us to forget the medicine that the Egyptians knew? We're discovering that they knew math that we're figuring out now. We're discovering that they knew medicine that we're figuring out now. They knew better medicine than we know. They knew better math than we know. We're finding out the Greeks did too. We're finding out the Romans did too. We're finding out the Chinese did too. We're finding out the Japanese did too. We're finding out the Aborigines from Australia did as well. When did that information go missing? Is what we should be asking. Because the information that we're finding that they already knew is information that we think we're discovering today, which means someone knew that information was there and somebody cut it off that information and stifled us from knowing it. Because it doesn't just happen on its own. And it seems to be specifically certain information, okay? And I talk about that in my book. I'm going to do a commercial for my book because I haven't done one yet. You got to pay the bills, okay? So
what is the reality about reality? Returning to the old ways. It is a comprehensive book about what is really going on here on this planet. It talks about the true spirituality that the controllers who think they own this planet have been keeping from you for thousands of years. It explains to you the knowledge that you gain from the universe itself when you live the way the prophets of the world throughout time told us how to live. Eat right, meditate, take care of yourself, treat others right. All the things they originally told us to do, but the controllers have removed from right in front of our eyes. The way to ascend to heaven. The reality about reality. Returning to the old ways. On sale worldwide online now.
okay, so there was a certain knowledge that we had in physics, a certain knowledge that we had in medicine, a certain knowledge that we had in spirituality all throughout the world. And all of that knowledge had been taken from us at a certain point in time. Why is that important? Because we're starting to figure out through science, through medicine, by looking at history, also through religion or spirituality, by looking at history, that all of these cultures knew all of these things already, and it's been sitting in front of us, and we've been told and taught to ignore it because they don't know what they're talking about. And we're discovering by looking at the physics of them in the past that their physics were more accurate than ours. We're looking at their medicine that they knew and our medicine and finding out that their medicine was more accurate than ours. We're also looking at spirituality and the spirituality of the past and starting to realize the same. Why is it that with spirituality, that's just made up and not real at all, is what they tell you. But when it comes to science, because it makes them money that they can control, they're okay with us figuring out that they all knew that stuff. When it comes to medicine, which makes them money, they all of a sudden are okay with them saying, yeah, look at that. They knew that stuff and so did we. We should look into the past. We should look into the past because they can control it and it makes money. The second it has a knowledge and information that they cannot or they lose control of and lose control of the population by it being given to or realized by the people that they can't make money off of it, that knowledge is fake and taboo, and those people are just primitives that didn't know what they were talking about. Yet when it comes to medicine and when it comes to science, those very same people have a knowledge that's vital and better than the knowledge we have today, or at the very least, They knew exactly what we already know that we have discovered, and they're finding out that they knew more. Those two knowledges by the exact same people worldwide is important, and we need to be paying attention to it because they can control it and make money off of it. But those same very people all of a sudden become primitive, stupid, and making shit up when it comes to spirituality. And then they don't know what they're talking about, and it's all fake, and it's all just a control mechanism. None of it's real. Don't listen to it. Don't look at it. That's what they tell you. But yet, when it's something that benefits them, those are the most brilliant people in the face of the earth, except for when they start talking about spirituality. And then all of a sudden, they were a bunch of skin-wearing, animal skin-wearing cave dwellers that don't know what they're talking about, and they were just painting pictures on the wall because it was graffiti. Weirdly, those exact same people knew more about science and knew more about medicine than we do today. Yet when it comes to spirituality, they were just a bunch of Bedouins sitting around in the desert thinking shit up and writing stories, and that's what they tell you about those very same people. Think about that. Think about that. Think about why they're telling you that. Why is it that all the spiritual practice is just children making up stories, and they don't know what they're talking about? They're unsophisticated, and they're just wearing animal skins, and they're just children hiding in a cave, and they don't even know what they're talking about. Yet they know more about medicine and they know more about science than we do today. And medicine, the medical practices and investigators and the historians and the science people and investigators and historians will tell you they knew way more than we did, and we're proving it day to day. So if they were more intelligent than us and knew more than us, how come that when it comes to spirituality, they were a bunch of children wearing skins, cave dwellers hitting each other with a club made from an arm of a fucking bone from an animal? But those people who were cave dwelling, skin wearing, pulling meat raw off the bone, cave dwelling Neanderthals knew more about science and medicine than we do today. And they're very respected and very sought after, that information, except for when they talk about spirituality and they talk about the universe and God. Then all of a sudden, they're simple-minded, superstitious children running around not knowing what they're talking about. Think about that, okay? Think about that. So then if you, on your own, which is what I hope you do, start going down the path of maybe I should start looking at, because I am a spiritual being. I'm not a religious person because I don't agree with some of the stuff in these religions. I go there and some of the things they do, I go, ooh, no, I don't like that. That's okay. If it's for you and you're okay with going to there and learning the religion, you're going to figure it out eventually, and you're going to find that by reading the stuff you're on your own, you're going to eventually start ascending towards heaven. Okay? So I'm not telling you that religion is wrong. It is controlled, just like everything else, like the internet, like everything else. However, you need to open your eyes and take a look at why is it that when it comes to spiritual things, they say that everyone has made it up and it's all fake. But when it comes to science and medicine, they say they're the most brilliant minds in the history of the world, and we need to listen to them because they can make money off of it and control it. Because the spiritual practice that they were teaching you doesn't keep you under their control. It teaches you how to ascend away from the control of these people. That's why you're not supposed to know about it. Let's continue with Thoth the Atlantean.
Emerald Tablet 3, the Key of Wisdom. I, Thoth the Atlantean, give of my wisdom, give of my knowledge, give of my power. Freely I give to the children of men, give that they, too, might have wisdom to shine through the world from the veil of the night. Wisdom is power, and power is wisdom, one with each other, perfecting the whole. Be thou not proud, O man, in thy wisdom. Discourse with the ignorant as well as the wise. If one comes to thee full of knowledge, listen and heed, for wisdom is all. Keep thou not silent when evil is spoken, for truth, like the sunlight, shines above all. He who oversteppeth the law shall be punished. For only through law comes the freedom of men. Cause thou not fear, for fear is a bondage, a fetter that binds the darkness to men. Follow thine heart during thy lifetime. Do thou more than is commanded of thee. When thou hast gained riches, follow thou thine heart, for all these are of no avail if thine heart be weary. Diminish thou not the time of following thine heart. It is abhorred of the soul. They that are guided go not astray, but they that are lost cannot find a straight path. If thou go among men, make for thyself love, the beginning and end of the heart. If one cometh unto thee for counsel, let him speak freely, that the thing for which he hath come to thee may be done. If he hesitates to open his heart to thee, it is because thou, the judge, doeth wrong. Repeat thou not extravagant speech, neither listen thou to it, for it is the utterance of one not in equilibrium. Speak thou not of it, so that he before thee may know wisdom. Silence is of great profit. An abundance of speech profiteth nothing. Exalt not thine heart above the children of men, lest it be brought lower than the dust. If thou be great among men, be honored for knowledge and gentleness. If thou seekest to know the nature of a friend, ask not his companion, but pass a time alone with him. Debate with him, testing his heart by his words and his bearing. That which goeth into the storehouse must come forth, and the things that are thine must be shared with a friend. Knowledge is regarded by the fool as ignorance, and the things that are profitable are to him hurtful. He liveth in death. It is therefore his food. The wise man lets his heart overflow, but keeps silent his mouth.
Okay, so here you're seeing the difference being told to you of those who live in the flesh and those who live in the heart, those who live in the spiritual. Okay, so you see the difference right there, literally just within that statement. Knowledge is regarded by the fool as ignorance. Okay, so the fool would be the person living in the flesh. So all knowledge would be considered ignorance by them because they think you're crazy. So here you're being told that those people who are living in the flesh are going to think that you're ignorant, that you're stupid, that you're crazy because they're living in the flesh. Knowledge is regarded by the fool as ignorance, and the things that are profitable are to him hurtful. He liveth in death, meaning living in the flesh. It is therefore his food. The wise man lets his heart overflow, but keeps silent his mouth. O man, list to the voice of wisdom. So if you are learning these things, if you talk too much like I do, then people know and they think you're crazy, and then they'll try to discredit you. But if you learn these things and you keep them to yourself and you just keep learning and you don't let people dissuade you by saying to them the things that you know and having them saying, why are you doing that? You're stupid, and try to stop you from doing it, because they will. That's what happens to you when you're a child. That's what happens to you when you're young. What happens is, as a child, if you're not locked into this matrix and you're awake in any way, or you start learning things, you start telling your parents and your friends and your family and your brothers and sisters or whatever. And then what happens? That you get stifled, don't you? When you're a kid, they're like, you need to stop talking like that. That's just make believe. That's not real. They lock you into the matrix. It's not their fault. They're locked into the matrix. This matrix is designed to lock you into it. It's what it's supposed to do. It's its job. It is actually the job of this place. So the job of this place is to distract you. And then the people in here become part of this place, and they distract you as well. That is what they're designed to do. Your job is to become aware of it. Your job is to wriggle free from it. Each one of us is supposed to find that out on our own and do it. But they've taken that knowledge away from us. It's right in front of us for us to see. When you start to wake up and you start to see it, you'll literally say to yourself, how have I not seen this my entire life? It's in everything right in front of me. I can't believe you can't unsee that. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So then you go, how did I not see this? It's right here in everything. And that's when you go and you say to yourself, I have to go back and look at everything I've ever learned. I need to go back and listen to every song I've ever listened to. I need to read every book again. I need to watch every movie again. Because as you think back, you start going, I knew that that song meant more than that. I knew that that movie was important. And I didn't understand why, but I just knew it instinctively. There was something in there that you thought to yourself, this is a great song. This is a great movie. Don't know why, but this is important. When you wake up, when you start to wake up and you pierce that veil, you start piercing that veil and you start seeing the light. You will then return to those places and go, wow, these simple people that wrote this book, this simple band that wrote this song, that they actually knew this stuff. What? And then you start looking around and realize that there have always been people around you that are awake, and they've been trying to wake you up your entire life. People that you don't even know, like Prince, a man that's been dead for I don't know how long now, 20, 30 years now. That he, back in the 1980s, was writing songs about waking you up. People further back than that. You look at Lao Tzu, 634 to 648 BCE, before the Common Era, BC, before Christ, before the year 0. We're in the year 2025. So 2,600, almost 2,700 years ago, a man was telling you the same thing that I'm telling you now. There was another man that was alive in China at the same time called the Buddha, was telling you the same information. 650 years later, there was another man called Jesus who was telling you the same information. You can go back even further than that. Okay? Thoth the Atlantean, 12,000 years ago minimum, telling you the same information that I'm telling you today. This information is right in front of your eyes being told to you now from at least 12,000 years ago. Thoth the Atlantean saying, knowledge is regarded by the fool as ignorance, and the things that are profitable are to him hurtful. He liveth in death. It is therefore his food. The wise man lets his heart overflow and keeps silent his mouth. O man, list to the voice of the wisdom. List to the voice of light.
O man, list to the voice of wisdom. List to the voice of light. Mysteries there are in the cosmos that unveiled fill the world with their light. Let he who would be free from the bonds of darkness first divine the material from the immaterial, the fire from the earth. For know ye that as earth descends to earth, so also fire ascends unto fire and becomes one with fire. He who knows the fire that is within himself shall ascend unto the eternal fire and dwell in it eternally. Fire.
Okay, now you have to realize that back when this was written, fire literally meant the light. Okay, so we don't realize that today, but we do, and we still have the sayings: light a fire, put a fire under your butt, right? That means what? You know, when you put a fire under somebody's butt, light a match under that one. That's you trying to get them motivated, right? So to see back then, the fire was the light, because we didn't have lights, we didn't have incandescents. And the fire was the light. Candlelight was fire. The light by the oil lamp was fire. The light of the day was the fire of the sun. So literally, when you're referring to up until 100 years ago, 120, 130 years ago, light literally meant fire. You didn't have light unless you had fire. So people don't realize that today, that when they referred to fire, they were referring to light. When they referred to light, they were referring to fire. So they're interchangeable. That means the light. So the fire within you is more than just light. because the fire that burns within you is also your determination. So we understand it or understand it a little bit more in the contrast, because we have light without flame. That it was a little harder for people to understand before, because they didn't have light without fire. So for them, the fire within them was something they would have seen as a light. But we have a distinction now because we're outside of the bounds of light only being fire. So we can then determine levels a little bit better because we're seeing it from outside, a third person perspective, because light to us is now an incandescence. Whereas before it was literally fire. It was the only way they had it. Candle, a flame, a fire pit, a fire in a hearth, or an oil lamp, something burning, or the day. And it was burning. So they were in it, and it was a little harder for them to understand, for them to understand the difference in the nuances that we can readily see a little bit more available to us, and readily see it a little bit and understand it a little bit easier, pardon me, because of our development, because of where we are now. And this is where I'm trying to show you this so that you will realize that we're actually moving in a better place, because our perspective, when we're returning to things like this, we can actually see the difference between the fire within you and the light within you, meaning the same thing, but one being a little bit more determinative than the other. Let's continue.
The inner fire is the most potent of all force, for it overcometh all things and penetrates to all things of the earth. Man supports himself only on that which resists. So earth must resist man, else he existeth not. All eyes do not see with the same vision, for to one an object appears of one form and color, and to a different eye of another. So also the infinite fire, changing from color to color, is never the same from day to day. Thus speak I, Thoth, of my wisdom, for a man is a fire burning bright through the night. Never is quenched in the veil of the darkness, never is quenched by the veil of the night. Into men's hearts I looked by my wisdom, found them not free from the bondage of strife. Free from the toils, thy fire, O my brother, lest it be buried in the shadow of night. Hark ye, O man, and list to this wisdom. Where do name and form cease? Only in consciousness invisible, an infinite force of radiance bright. The forms that ye create by brightening thy vision are truly effects that follow thy cause.
See, so literally, if you here's that term again. The first step of avoiding a trap is knowing of its existence. Okay, this is showing you. Thoth is saying the light that you are looking for is within you. That which you need to free yourself from this place always and has always existed within you. It cannot be squelched from you unless you allow it to happen. Okay, so if you start to realize the first step in avoiding a trap is knowing of its existence, if you do start to realize that you have within you a light that cannot be put out, once you know about that, once you realize that, and then you start to question everything, they can't stop you. This is why we tell people the moment you start questioning your reality is the ending, is the beginning of the end of their control over you. That's why they don't want you to question anything. That's why they don't want you to listen to anybody who is questioning anything. That's why they don't want you to have anyone talk to you that is not under their control. Because the second you start questioning anything about your reality is the second you're going to start questioning everything about your reality. Once you start questioning everything, if I can get you to question everything I've said to you, I've done my job. Because now you're questioning and thinking for yourself. This is why Socrates, who was tried, convicted, and executed for saying the earth was round, by the way, said, I cannot make anyone believe anything. The only thing I can hope for is to get them to start thinking for themselves. 4,000 years ago, that man said that. It was true then and it's true now. I can't get you to believe anything. I don't want to force you to believe anything. I don't want to get you to believe anything. The only thing I wish to do is to get you to start questioning everything. So if I can get you to start questioning me, then you'll start questioning everything. So that's why I always say to everybody, don't believe a word I've said, go and look it up for yourself. Because the second you start doing that is the beginning of the end of your veiling. It is the beginning of your awakening. It is the beginning of you piercing the veil of night. Okay, let's continue here.
Man is a star bound to a body until in the end he is freed through his strife. Only by struggle and toiling thy utmost shall the star within thee bloom out into new life. He who knows the commencement of all things, free is his star from the realm of the night.
And truly, I say this as well, and this is what is being said here. If you look at what everything that he is saying right here, or you don't believe any of it, what he's saying here is it doesn't matter, because the strife that you're going through at some point will become so unruly for you, so uncomfortable for you, that you will find yourself at that dark night of the soul. You will find yourself at a position in your life when you will say, this is the bottom. I have hit the bottom and there's nowhere else to go down from here. There is only up. So no matter what you do in life, whether you're a spiritual being and you search for knowledge, you search for the light, you go, whether you do that or not, if you don't believe in any of that, I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual, I don't care about any of that. I'm not going to believe in any of that. I'm not going to look into any of that. I'm not going to consider any of that. It is okay, because eventually you, through your strife, and this is being told to you by someone that was at least 12,000 years ago, not just me now. Eventually, you'll get so tired of this place beating you down that you, through your strife, through the problems of your life, will eventually go, there has got to be something better than this. This can't be it. This cannot be it. And the moment you choose to continue with your life, knowing that information, begins your journey upward. The moment, let me say that again, the moment you choose to continue your life, because some people get to that point and they say, that's it, I'm going to kill myself. Because they don't believe that there is going to be anything. And they say, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, and they kill themselves. The moment you do not do that and say, there's got to be something else, this is not it, that wonderment right there begins. That is the first step in avoiding the trap, is knowing of its existence. You have hit the dark night of the soul that Carl Jung talked about. You have hit the bottom place of your existence, and you have now said, I'm not going to just end it. There's got to be something else. Then you need to figure out what to look for. You start looking at that point. All I know is that my life is crap. There's got to be something else. It can't be this crappy forever. Then you're going to look at other people and go, what have they got? How come they're not in the place I'm in? Now you're asking questions and thinking for yourself. Do you see? You don't know you're doing it when you're in that place, wherever you are around the world. If you're in that place and you're hearing my words right now, you're doing that already. You found me. You're asking questions and you're looking for someone who has answers. I don't have all of them. Nobody has all of them. You can't down here. I have far more answers than 90% of the people here. But there's 10% that are where I am and above me on this planet. Okay. But the fact that you're looking, if you're hearing my voice right now, you're looking, or you wouldn't be here right now in the middle of my show, 2 hours into it. So if you're hearing these words right now, you're looking for something better than you have. It's here. It's here in your heart. It's here in your head. It's within you. It's within you. And it's being told to you in every spiritual practice since the dawn of time. But you didn't know it because it was taken from you. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. The only thing you did was got caught up in a matrix whose job it was to keep you from this knowledge. And people who are evil on this earth know the same knowledge I know, and they have been keeping the knowledge away from you as desperately as they can so that you don't ask the questions you're asking. If you're here right now listening to my voice, you've already made the choice to look for something. You don't know what, but you know it's there. What is it? It is knowledge, and it is within you. That is what's there. It is power, it is strength, and it is within you. That is where it is. You just need to look within and find it. How do I do that? What do I do? That's out there in the world for you to look into. Find someone like me who would be willing to work with you and help you. We're out there. We're doing it for free. We're showing you the way. Those people throughout history and all of time have left these scrolls, these books, these printed things, because that was the genre that they had until we had video, until we had recordings like now. Before that, it was writing it down. And these things have been hidden in places for people to find, and they have been found. And this, whether you want to think it was created by some person or not, the message is the same message that is in everything in history, in every religious book, in every spiritual practice, in everything, everywhere. And they distract you by saying, they copied it from some other scroll. You have to look for the oldest scroll. And they get you chasing a scroll, chasing your tail. You're chopping down a forest because you can't find the trees. And you're not looking at the forest. You're not stopping and smelling the roses. You're not reading what is the message that they're all copying from one another. That is what I'm here to show you. Let's continue with this. So you're seeing that Thoth is saying to you that the fire, the light is within you. You just have to look within yourself and find that light and start unveiling yourself.
Remember, O man, that all which exists is only another form of that which exists not. Everything that has being is passing into yet another being, and thou thyself are not an exception. Consider the law, for all is law. Seek not that which is not of the law, for such exists only in the illusions of the senses. Wisdom cometh to all her children, even as they cometh unto wisdom. All through the ages the light has been hidden. Awake, O man, and be wise. Deep in the mysteries of life have I traveled, seeking and searching for that which is hidden. List ye, O man, and be wise. Far neath the earth crust in the halls of Amenti, mysteries I saw that are hidden from men. Oft have I journeyed the deep hidden passage, looked on the light that is life among men. There, neath the flowers of life ever living, searched I the hearts and the secrets of men. Found I that man is but living in darkness. Light of the great fire is hidden within. Before the lords of hidden Amenti learned I the wisdom I give unto men. Masters are they of the great secret wisdom, brought from the future of infinity's end. 7 are they, the lords of Amenti, overlords they of the children of morning, sons of the cycles, masters of wisdom. Formed are not they as the children of men?
Okay, so here are those again, this is talking about the chakras and the knowledge that is in your chakras. Your chakras, the red ray root chakra to your crown chakra. Again, they are not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once again, the word and accentuating the sixth chakra. 7, 8, 9. These found I that man is but living in darkness. Light of the great fire is hidden within you, within me, within each of us. Before the lords of hidden Amente learned I the wisdom I give unto men. Masters are they of the great secret wisdom. You, me, everyone are masters of the great secret wisdom brought forth from the future of infinity's end. 7 are they, the lords of Amente, overlords, they of the children of morning. So 7 are the lords of knowledge, of Amente. Overlords, meaning those who give us direction, arcana, those archetypes that each one of us have within us because of the day we were born, the minute we were born, the month we were born, the hour we were born, the year we were born, all of those things. I am a Virgo. My birthday was 2 days ago. Today's is the 12th, 13th if you're in Australia. My birthday was the 10th. So because of that, I'm a Virgo and I have those attributes. Those attributes are personality traits. In my body, I have chakras. Those chakra centers are attributes, are archetypes for each individual areas. The red ray root chakra being the very first root chakra, this place. I think, therefore I am. Then you have, moving up into the orange and the yellow. The yellow is the third chakra, the third place. That is this matrix. The sun that we have is a red ray root or or yellow ray chakra. The third planet from this yellow ray, third chakra, is the third dimension. The third dimension is the third chakra, is the place of doing, is the place of the third dimension, this reality. That is the third chakra that we call the third chakra, but it is not chakra number 3. Okay? It is not chakra number 3. It is chakra what? 3, 4, number 5. It is the yellow ray chakra. Number 6 is the heart chakra. Okay, so we have them out of order only in that we don't realize there are 2 other chakras below the red ray root chakra, which is the first one that's physically inside our physical body. Okay, so here are those sons of the cycles, masters of wisdom. Formed are not they as the children of man. They are not physical. They are non-physical, but they are archetypes that assist in certain archetypes for certain areas of where we reside, personality traits that each one of us, if we choose to live in them, we will become them. So if you're living in the flesh, in this third dimensional reality, and you're non-spiritual, you're living in the bottom 3 chakras, the red ray root, the orange ray sacral, and the solar plexus chakra. That is all the chakras that rule this physical place. If you learn about chakras, you know that. If you already know about chakras, you know that what I'm saying is true. Then the upper 3 chakras that are the above the heart chakras are the spiritual place. Those are the chakras who people who are spiritual in service to others reside more in those personality traits of wisdom, caring, love, helping people, loving others. People down in the bottom 3 chakras are living in the areas of I love myself and I love this place and I love power and I love money and I love clicks and I love control and I love all of the things that are this place. Bottom 3 chakras, upper 3 chakras, spiritual. The heart chakra is the one chakra that is ruling both of those. That is the Vesica Pisces, the yin and the yang, that which is in the center between the other 2. Only it goes up and down. The heart chakra, why? Because love, people who are living in this place, they still love. They love money, they love power, they love fame, they love themselves. People who are, those are people that are self-serving. People who are in service to others still love. They love themselves, but they love others. They love the world. They love the plants. They love the animals. They love space. They love everything. They are in service to others. They are in love with everything and everyone. They are spiritual-minded people. They are not physical, plain people. Do you see? So here you see that Thoth is telling you these are archetypes, chakras, that assist you. Your choice in learning them and how to balance them is going to determine what kind of person that you are. Let me go back over here into full screen and we'll continue. Okay. So the wisdom I give unto thee, masters are they of the great secret wisdom, brought forth from the future of infinity's end. 7 are they, the lords of Amente, overlords they of the children of morning, sons of the cycles, masters of wisdom. Formed are not they as the children of men.
3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9 are the titles of the masters of men. Far from the future, formless yet forming, came they as teachers for the children of men. Live they forever, yet not of the living, bound not to life and yet free from death. Rule they forever with infinite wisdom, bound yet not bound to the dark halls of death. Life they have in them, yet life that is not life, free from all the lords of the all. Forth from them came forth the Logos.
Okay, so here's that word logos. If you were following me when I was talking about the law of one, there was a logos. What is a logos? Logos is creation. Logos is not an Egyptian word. It is more of a Greek word. But here you see that Thoth, who is an Atlantean, is using the word logos. So logos means love. Logos means creation. So literally you're seeing this life they forever, yet not of the living, bound not to life and yet free from death. So these rulers rule they forever with infinite wisdom, bound yet not bound to the dark halls of the death. Life they have in them, yet life that is not life. So they're alive, but they're not living in the flesh. They are there to help you. They are wisdom. They are knowledge. They are archetypes. Free from all are the lords of the all. Forth from them came forth the logos, came the creation, the creative ability, instruments, they of the power over all. Okay. So literally this is knowledge that you need to know to help balance yourself, to be able to choose where it is that you wish to live and how it is that you wish to live as a person and what type of person that you want to live in the logos, as part of creation.
Instruments, they of the power over all. Vast is their countenance, yet hidden in smallness, formed by a forming, known yet unknown. 3 holds the key of all hidden magic.
Okay, so now you're seeing that, now we're talking about 3, that would be the red ray root chakra. 3 holds the key of all hidden magic, creator, he of the halls of the dead. So sending forth power through with darkness, binding the souls of the children of men. Red ray root chakra, rooting you in this third dimensional place. Do you see? So now you're getting a description of each chakra and what it is that they're doing. If you know anything about the chakras and you know what they represent, if you don't, you should look that up and then listen to this at the same time. What does the red ray root chakra do? It roots you in place, holds you. 3 holds the key of all hidden magic, physical, as well as not physical. But it is a root. It is the rock. It is the rock of Gibraltar. It is the thing that holds you to this and binds you to this reality. So that is the red ray root chakra. Okay. 3.
Binding the souls of the children of men. Sending the darkness, binding the soul force, director of negative, to the children of men. 4 is he who loses the power. Lord he of life to the children of men. Light.
Okay, so now 4 is the sacral chakra, Lord he of life. The sacral chakra is where? Is in the solar plexus, is in the place of what? The baby making, the goddess. Okay, so 4, now we're saying that 4 is the solar plexus. Why? Because that is the creator, that is the Lord of life. Do you see? So if you had any question before, I don't know, Leo, I don't know if that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is the chakras. Now you're getting a description of what each one of these archetypes rules. If you literally look at the chakras and you know anything about them, you will know that the names that are being told to you are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So if you adjust your thinking and realize that literally 4 is the solar plexus, you're going to change the way that you perceive the universe. Because if you know anything about 3, 6, and 9, you're going to realize that readjusting 3, 6, and 9 to what you thought was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is in fact 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to realize that everything in the universe will make sense to you and will fit as if there was a key inserted into a lock on a door that you didn't even know was in front of you.
Is his body, flame is his countenance, freer of souls to the children of men. 5 is the master, the Lord of all magic. Key.
Okay, so 5 now is the yellow ray, the number 3 chakra, the yellow ray chakra, which is 3rd dimension, which is this place. So 5 is the master, the Lord of all magic, everything that is physical plane, key to the world that resounds among men, key to this place, 3rd dimension. The number 5 is the number 5 chakra is the what we think is the 3rd chakra. The number 3, the 3rd dimensional ruler. That is this place. 5 is the master, the Lord of all magic, key to the world that resounds among men.
To the word that resounds among men. 6 is the Lord of light, the hidden pathway, path of the souls of the children of men.
Okay, so 6 is the Lord of light, the hidden pathway, love, creation, the logos. That is the heart chakra. That is the 6th position here. 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is the Lord of light, the hidden pathway, path of the soul of the children of men.
7 is he who is Lord of the vastness, master of space and the key of the times. 8 is he who orders the progress, weighs and balances the journey of men.
Okay, so now you see 7, the throat chakra. Okay, the voice. 7 is he who is Lord of the vastness, master of space and the key of time. Okay, now 8 is what? The 3rd eye. 8 is the 3rd eye. What is the 3rd eye, right? So 8 is he who orders the progress, weighs and balances, thinking, right? The thinking, the knowledge bringer, that is the balance, the thought process. I think, therefore I am, the reasoning. Archetype is your 3rd eye. The 3rd eye is being able to see, being able to know what's happening, recognition, realization, order, balance. Do you see? The balancing your journey.
9 is the Father, vast he of countenance.
So you have 9. 9 is wisdom. 9 is the wisdom chakra. That's what we call the number 7 chakra. The crown chakra. 9 is the Father. Father is wisdom. Vast he of countenance, wisdom and knowledge, forming and changing from out of the formless. Right? Do you see?
Forming and changing from out of the formless. Meditate on the symbols I give thee. Keys are they. though hidden from men. Reach ever upward, O soul of the morning. Turn thy thoughts upward to light and to life. Find in the keys of the numbers I bring thee, light on the pathway from life unto life. Seek ye with wisdom, turn thy thoughts inward. Close not thy mind to the flower of light. Place in thy body a thought-formed picture. Think of the numbers that lead thee to life. Clear is the pathway to he who has wisdom. Open the door to the kingdom of light. Pour forth thy flame as a sun of the morning. Shut out the darkness and live in the day. Take thee, O man, as part of thy being, the seven who are, but are not as they seem. Opened, O man, have I my wisdom. Follow the path in the way I have led. Masters of wisdom, son of the morning light and life to the children of men.
Okay, so literally saying the same words that you heard from another character called Jesus. The way to heaven is through me. Follow the path that I have given thee. Do you see? So the same wisdom, the same knowledge, look ye upward. Look inside of you, follow your light. Look yourself upward, away from the night. Think about this, okay? So here you see Thoth. If Thoth was created and was just made up by somebody, and that this information is just, it's just something that was made up, Leo. Some guy in 1929 just must have read all the other books. Again, the thinking that they push on you is, that must have been borrowed from something else. It's just something else. It was borrowed from something older. So let's say Thoth, the Atlantean, the Emerald Tablets were written in 1929. What were they written from then? What were they written about? Do you see? They don't want you doing that. They go, no, you got to look at the older one. You're going to find out who the old one was. Well, that's the same information that Jesus was talking about. So if that was in 1929, Jesus was saying the same thing. Yeah, and Jesus was written by the Romans, remember? So the Romans created Jesus. So Jesus came from somewhere else. Well, where did Jesus come from? Well, the Romans created him because the Hebrews had this prophecy of this guy who was going to come and teach. Okay, so then it came from the Hebrews. So the Romans borrowed that from the Hebrews. So where do the Hebrews get it from? Do you see what they're doing to you now? You're not listening to the message. You're not reading the message. You're chasing a scroll to find out who wrote it the first time. They're having you only identify the knowledge in the scroll to find out when it was written and by whom, so that you can then chase it back to the next place, and then chase it back to the next place, and chase it back to the next place. And what are you chasing back to the next place? Well, I'm chasing back this knowledge that somebody copied from somebody else. What did they copy from someone else? And was that information useful? Never mind that now. You got to find who wrote it first. Keep going. Keep going. That's a cyclical argument that will just continue going in a circle, because they're all based on something else that was based on something else. And it keeps going around in circle according to the way that they have it set up for you to keep chasing. You'll never find it because there's an older scroll out there that we have to find. And we haven't found that yet. So we go out there and dig for it for us and find it. Never mind studying the one thing that they're all telling you. All of them. So if the Thoth scriptures were fake, they were based on the same message that Jesus was teaching. Well, then Jesus has to be fake because we told you that was fake. So where did the Jesus story come from? Well, they created it out of other stories that the Jews had. What did the Jews have? Well, they had other people telling you the same thing. They had this Moses guy that supposedly talked to a bush that was on fire from a god who told them what? Well, never mind what he told them. Let's find out if there was another story of a burning bush that somebody else was talking about from before. Wait, there's another story that comes out of Mesopotamia that's very similar. We think the Jewish people borrowed that story from an older scroll. And let's go take a look. So then when you get there, they go, yep, there's the same scroll, same stuff. Ignore what they're saying here. Let's find out where they got that from. So what they're doing is they're distracting you away from the knowledge that every single person that wrote. Lao Tzu in 634 BCE did not know Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ more than likely did not know Lao Tzu. But they'll tell you, maybe Jesus went to China and he read, we don't know this, but Jesus was fake. But if you think Jesus was real, maybe he went to China and learned that information. So he wasn't really telling you what God told him. He was just telling you what he read. And that's how they get you chasing what he read. So maybe Jesus read the emerald tablets. Maybe, so you have Hermes, and Hermes was reading stuff. Maybe he read the emerald tablets. Where did they get that from? Maybe they read that and borrowed that and read that and borrowed that. And they focus you away from the actual message itself. The message is the same. The message is look within yourself. You can look all the scrolls you want. I encourage you to do so. I encourage you to read every religion on the face of the earth. I encourage you to read every scroll you can find that is on the face of the earth that has to do with spirituality. I encourage you to not get caught up in the doctrine of any of them and not get caught up in a zealot mandate from somebody saying my religion is greater than yours and your religion is fake. And if you don't convert to my religion, I'm going to have to kill you. Stay away from that kind of zealotry in all the religions and look at them from a standpoint of what is their message that they're teaching you. And look at all of them. Because when you get away from the human semantical ideologies of control mechanisms in all of what is now religions, and you get to the spiritual context of those religions, you can go and sit before a pastor every Sunday, and he will teach you exactly what he's supposed to teach you on that Sunday. And you can ask them about heaven and how to get there. And you can either just follow that person and wait for the bus to come get you and sit down and show up every Sunday and just wait, because eventually Jesus is going to return in a bus, probably a Volkswagen van, with a guy with a big beard and a big book, and he's going to have your name written in it, or he's not. And you can wait for that to happen. Or you can start going, well, what was it that Jesus was telling me that I should be doing? I don't remember Jesus ever saying, sit down and wait here. Well, Jesus said he would return. Actually, I'd live for somebody to find that spot where Jesus said, wait here, I'll be back. I've looked for it. I'm a theologian. Everyone says that. Jesus said, God says I will return like a thief in the night. Yeah, Jesus said, remember God said that. Okay, Jesus said, remember God said that. You should look up that passage in the Bible and find out what Jesus was talking about there. He wasn't saying, sit here and wait because God's going to come get you and there's going to be left behind people. Jesus never said that. Jesus said, Muhammad said, you don't have to go into their box and sit down for God to hear you. That's what they said. So if you're a Christian or a Muslim, those two men said, you don't have to go and sit there for God to hear you. There were other people in history that said the same thing. You don't have to go into that place for God to hear you. God hears you wherever you are. That's the message. Even John, if you're a Baptist, John said that. Doesn't matter what religion you were in. The person who was the prophet is telling you you're in charge of how you get to heaven. You're the one who finds the way to heaven, not someone having to lead you. The person who's trying to lead you was here a long time ago, and that person was trying to teach you a way, not a religion, a way for you to look within yourself and find a knowledge within you. That knowledge is there for you to find. It's within you. It's within those scriptures. It's not within an organized religion where you have to sit down and listen. But if that's all you got and you think I'm crazy, you can do that. Eventually, no matter what happens, even if you don't believe in a God and you don't believe in a religion or you don't believe in spirituality, eventually the strife of this place will become so much that you will decide to either kill yourself or look for something better. And the moment you decide to be a survivor and look for something better is the moment that even if you don't believe there's a God, you're going to start your journey back towards that light. Whether you like it or not, you're going to eventually say, I don't like being poor. I don't like being destitute. I don't like being trodden upon. I am going to make money. I am going to have power. I am going to do something because I don't like sitting here where I am. So you're either going to choose to stand up and move forward in the physical plane and get power and money and fame, or you're going to decide that maybe there is a God, and if there is, why the fuck isn't God helping me? And then you're going to realize that you need to help yourself and that God is standing there waiting for you, that the creator of the universe is reaching down to you. You see this in all of the literature. The Sistine Chapel is showing you that God is reaching halfway down, waiting for you to reach up. You have to reach up. That is the message in all the religions. You have to look up and stand up and reach up, and then you will find the way. You have to do it. It's within you. You have to find your strength and your power. They're taking it from you. They've taken it from you, and they're taking it from you. They don't want you to know that you have more power than they do. They want you to believe that they're in charge. They want you to believe that they can control you, that they own you, and that you only survive and live because they let you, that you're living by someone else's leave. That's what they've been teaching you for tens of thousands of years on this earth. And if you don't believe them, they'll prove it to you by beating you down and putting you in jail and causing you more chain wrapped around your neck and your ankles called debt. And they'll hold you in this place, chasing that debt, that chain that is slaving you to this matrix, that is holding you in this matrix. It's called debt. You owe someone else something that you must work for to pay off. But you never do pay it off, do you? Because they make sure that you don't. Why is that? Because they don't want you leaving. You have to stay here. You have to be unhappy. You have to continue working for them, believing they're in charge. Because the moment that you say, I think there might be something else, is the moment they lose their power over you. You still have to live in this plane, so you still need a job. You still have to have food because they still control whether you eat or not, whether you have a place to sleep or not. They've taken control of all of those. But what you can do is take control of yourself. What you do for a living is not who you are. What you do for a living is what you do to survive this place. Who you are is what you think. Who you are is what you know. Who you are is what you feel. What you do is how you survive. That's not who you are. You are something. You are worth. You have power. All you have to do is look for it. It's within you. So eventually, whether you believe any of the words that I'm saying or think I'm crazy, eventually you'll get tired of living in this place being beaten down by it. And you'll stand up and you'll look around like a lemur. You'll stand up and you'll look around. And I just saw one because I just went to the Australian Zoo the other day for my birthday. My wife took me and we got to see a lemur do that. Stand up and look around. You'll do that. You'll stand up above the pack and look around instead of running with the herd. You'll go, wait a minute, what's going on out there? The second you do that is the beginning of the breaking of the conditioning that is holding you in this place. The more often that you stand up like a learcat, like a lemur, and look around, the more you're going to start realizing what's really happening. And that someone's controlling the herd. They got dogs running next to the herd, nipping at their heels, chasing you this direction and that, herding you from one place to another, putting you into a pen after you've gone and grazed. And you're running from that dog because you're afraid of it. Even if you don't know that it's there, you're running with the herd. I don't know why we're running, but everybody's running. So if we all stick together, we're all going to survive this. And you run, and the next thing you know, you're in a paddock. And then you're stuck there. And then you got to wait until they let you out again. Then you get to go out and run, and you think you're free until the dog comes and chases you back. But if you stand up and look and realize that, the first step in avoiding a trap is knowing of its existence. You can be the one that doesn't run with the herd. Do you see? You look within yourself and you realize that that dog is not more powerful than you are. It's just a dog. If you let them think that they've got you, you can use their system to learn. That's what we're doing here. You're not a slave. You're only a slave if you allow them to enslave you. You're only a slave if you allow this place to enslave you. If you recognize this place for what its job is to make you think you're a slave. Its job is to make you think you're stuck in a prison. That's its job. People say aliens came and made this place and it's a prison, and they, third dimensional construct again, came down here and created this in the human genome. They put it together from monkeys. Only they can't prove that in science, that we're actually monkeys. Just because we share DNA with them, we share DNA with a whale. We share DNA with dolphins. We share DNA with chipmunks. We share DNA with everything on this earth because we're built the same. We have the same chakras. We all have a heart. We all have lungs. Does that mean I was a cat? Wait, they want you to believe that you were a monkey and that aliens changed you into a human. But I was also a cat. I was also a fish. And you're not saying that aliens changed me from that, but the monkey part, aliens had to have come down here because they wanted slaves. Again, caste system, third dimensional reality with someone in charge and everybody's beneath that and you're the bottom run. Even that part is designed to get you to believe that you're nobody. All the religions were fake and created by the Anunnaki because the Anunnaki created you because they needed your work, and that there's something that was valuable here, that's gold that they needed for their planet, and they're going to come back. They didn't leave anybody behind to guard the place. That's weird, because that's what I would do. If I owned this planet and it was that precious, I would leave an armada here to guard this place so other people couldn't come here and harvest the same shit that we need, that according to everybody in the Ancient Aliens place and all these people all over the internet, the most sought after thing in the entire universe is the gold that we have an abundance of, and there's no one here guarding it? Well, no, it's the greatest secret in the universe. It's way out in the backwoods in this little teeny town called Earth. No one else knows about it but the one bad guys who came here, so they don't have to leave anyone here. They just show up for a tribute every now and then. Then other people go, no, they are secretly really here already. And they live in the center of the earth. And they're ruling this place from there. But there's nobody out here watching the sky for aliens to then come down and invade. Are you saying the people that are hiding inside the castle don't care about the people out in the fields and that they can be killed by other people? Well, how come no one's raiding the place then? Because I would. Oh, because secretly they have spaceships in space, then their story morphs. But they're hidden under this thing that's called the cloaking device, and they're really there guarding this. And there's a war that goes on up there all the time, but you just can't see it because that's hidden too. You see? But those same people will tell you that, well, religion isn't real because they're teaching you that there's this invisible man up in space called God that sees everything you're doing and watches over everything you're doing. Aren't they trying to tell us the same thing with there's this invisible alien race that's hidden inside the earth, but God is an invisible man that's hidden up in the sky, and that God is watching over everything that you do, and the aliens that are hidden inside the earth that you can't see, can't touch, can't taste, can't smell, can't go see, are watching everything that you do, and they secretly made you. God, who is the secret man in space that you can't see, that doesn't exist, but the aliens do, he did the same thing. He's up there and I can't see him, taste him, touch him, smell him, find him. And he created me secretly and he's watching everything that I do, but he's fake. And these ones that are inside the earth, they're real. But they did the same thing that the invisible God has done. Well, never mind that. He's fake. He's just something that they created to control you. So the invisible gods inside the earth who created us for a secret mission of mining gold for them, who are watching everything that we do, those are the real ones. But we can't find them, see them, record them, or taste them, or smell them, or touch them. But we know about them. Well, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making us believe that he didn't exist. Weird we have that story then. I wonder where the stories came from then. So if those people who were the Anunnaki, who are invisible, that we can't see, taste, touch, smell, or anything, created us, where did the stories come from then? Oh, well, they let you know about it. We found scrolls. Weird, because, we found scrolls about the God guy too. No. Those were fake and made up. But these scrolls that tell about the Anunnaki, those are the real ones. How do you know that? Well, because, they're in the earth. Well, how do you know that? Because people went to the earth. People talk to God too. No, those were made up. But my religion is real. Do you see? So they talk to God. And God, that's why we have the stories, because they wandered into heaven and talked to God. You mean the same thing that people wandered into heaven spiritually and talked to God? No, those were stories made up to control you. This religion, my religion, about the ones who came here from outer space, who controlled us and created us, that's the true one. That's the real one. And all of this was created so that you would think that there was something for you to look at somewhere else, see? But in truth, you're in a prison that was created by my gods in my religion, and they're the ones that are in charge, and we were created by them to mine gold, you see. But wait, didn't you say that your gods came from another planet and that they come back every 3,000 years? Never mind that now. Well, that was the old story. But the new story is they live inside the earth, you see. They're actually here among us. And oh, wait, they have a cloaking device too, and they're walking around, and I could be one right now, but you wouldn't know it, you see. So I might be in one of those lizard people that you would not know about. Although I'm not, but you wouldn't know it if I was, because I have a cloaking device, so they would have a cloaking device. Do you see? So wait, so we can't see them. We never get to know about them, but people keep claiming that they know about it. How do they know about it then? Do you see this misdirection that's going on here? They're telling you the same story, but they're making it third dimension, and then they're telling you that you can't find them to prove it. But the story about your creator is fantasy, because it's about this thing that's not physical. So everything relies on the physicality of the Anunnaki being a thing that you can't find. It's kind of like God, isn't it? It's a matter of faith. So you either believe in the religion of we were created by alien boogeymen who came down here and needed to mine gold and were too fat and lazy to do it themselves. So they found this monkey and they put their DNA in the monkey and created people so that they could mine gold. And we're mining gold. And why did we mining gold? Well, because on their planet, they need the gold because they need to. But wait, don't they live here on our planet? Never mind that. That's just the people guarding us, see? Never mind that. They need the gold for their atmosphere because they depleted their atmosphere, and they've never figured out any technology in the hundreds of millions of years that they've been here to fix their own ozone layer. They need to have the gold the whole time. So doesn't that mean that their technology isn't advancing at all? Because if they only come here every 3,000 years, they keep coming in the same aircraft, same spacecraft, because they don't come with new stuff. All the stories keep saying that these people keep showing up, and they're showing up in third dimensional craft that weirdly we have now developed the ability to fly in the same craft they had. Okay. Well, that was 3,000 years ago. So when they come back, which they're overdue, when they come back, of course, they're going to have better aircraft, really, because they've never upgraded in the thousands of years of their conversation in history. If they're real people and they really made us, and they made us 100,000 years ago, in 100,000 years, up to 3,000 years ago, they had the same exact aircraft. For 100,000 years, up to 3,000 years ago, they had the same aircraft, but this time they're going to have different ones because we've advanced to the point of having the same aircraft of them, so they must advance too. Well, when we were primitive for 100,000 years, they didn't advance. Well, they didn't have to. So what you're saying is they were sending people over to Earth with aircraft that was 100,000 years outdated, because they didn't need to send anybody to Earth with any upgraded aircraft, and you think that people are going to say, yeah, that's a good idea. So what you're saying is that I should be driving then a Model T Ford now, because I don't really need to drive a Lamborghini. So even though I know there's a Lamborghini, I should just drive that Model T Ford and do the 5 miles an hour that can do. Well, no, because then you never get anywhere anytime fast. So I'm not going to drive that old car, but we're going to keep one around so that we can show the Aborigines in Australia. No, because they know about the technology too. So now you have to show them the new technology. So do you see where I'm going with this? So their entire religion, because it is a religion, is based on saying that there are third dimensional gods who created us, not a fifth or sixth dimensional invisible God who is a spirit, a physical God. But they're not really gods. We just thought they were gods because they had better technology than us. And we know that now because now we have the technology that they had. So what are they going to use when they come here then? Well, they're going to have something way better, but they've never done that. They've only came in the same craft over and over again. So they're not evolving. Or at the very least, they're evolving at the same speed that we are, which means they're here, not somewhere else, because they're not evolving. And if they're not evolving, then we're going to pass them. That means we're going to be the gods soon. So they're not really gods, and they're not really in charge of us. That's the dichotomy that's happening now with the humans on this earth. Because if you have believed up until this point that the Anunnaki, these gods, came and created the human genome, you're going to realize they haven't changed at all. The story is still the same, which means they've either never came back or they have. And if they have come back, how many times have they come back? And where are their advancements they should have made if they are in fact real? Because we're making advancements. Well, we're only making advancements because we're finding their technology and we're shooting it down and reverse engineering it. Yeah, and we have the ability to adapt their technology and move into their phase of whoever we took that from. So either we're a superior DNA, but wait, you said we're a slave DNA that they created to keep us as slaves. So how is it that we're advancing faster than they are? We're advancing at all and they're not. We're advancing faster than them. They're not showing up in new spacecraft. Well, then there's the spaceships that have been showing up. Now all of a sudden there's an evolution that they'll tell you about because they don't want you to believe that there's even UFOs. But now the only way they can hold on to their religion is to tell you that there is aliens, because that's the only way they can keep you from believing that there's a creator of the universe, is to keep you looking in the 3D. So they always try to move everything into the 3D. Everything from 4D becomes 3D. Okay. Hi, Greg. I didn't even see that you're there, brother. And you were saying hello. Kelly, I didn't see Kelly there either, right? Oh, I did see Kelly because Kelly was talking about being a Virgo. So Greg said, prisoners are the privileged prison guards also, right? So, right, prisoners have privileged prison guards, right? So, right? So that cocaine is a hell of a drug. I love that. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. The system is that good. So literally, we could look at it that way, Greg, and say, well, you have the elites that are on the planet. So the prisoners are in charge of the prison. Okay, so again, let's assume that. Let's keep it, Greg, in third dimension and put this into a prison perspective where you have privileged prisoners who the prison guards are putting in charge of the prisoners to keep the prisoners in charge, because you got to have people on the inside, right? So let's pretend that that's what's happening, right? So if we pretend that that's what's happening, those people who supposedly created us still aren't changing. Okay, so we're changing more rapidly than they are, but we're supposed to be the slaves, right? Greg says, who cares what or who they are? It is insignificant compared to where the corruption funnels to. Still, let me put this up on the screen for you. We'll read this. Still can't deny your true nature, and their story is basically yours. You are reliving in their exact image identity. You are reliving in their exact image and identity. Okay, so So Greg, prove that to me. So prove that to me. Okay. So if your gods are the Anunnaki and they're real and they created you, prove it. Where do you see that in history? And don't go back to the Enuma Elish and try to say that the words there, because that's been proven to be wrong, that the words Anunnaki are not what they think they are. You can look that up. You can go and look at the scholars, the actual people who have translated the language, because they do actually have a dictionary that they have uncovered from the Mesopotamian language, not just that one scroll, by the way. And you can look that up and find out where the word Anunnaki comes from. Get away from Prometheus, get away from ancient aliens. I'm actually friends with those people. I know this because I actually own Ancient Aliens Worldwide, created it and own it on Facebook, and know every single person that has been in that genre, and I've talked to every single one of them, personal friends with them. Okay. There's a lot of us who decided to get away from there, right? Their story is yours. The proof is in the pudding. Show me the pudding, please, of your inherent behavior. Okay. So now you're going to third dimensional ideology of the human genome in this matrix, and you're saying because you are who you are, that's proof. I say the same thing with the creator of the universe, Greg. I say that you were created in the image of the creator of the universe, which is not the Anunnaki, which is not a physical fake god that drove a spaceship who came here. You were created by the creator of the universe, and you were created in that creator's image, and that you are living proof that you are from that, and that there is no Anunnaki. That's a story that was created to control you. Do you see? I'm talking about psychology of who you are versus the story of who they were. Same corruption. Do your own research and understand the ancient story. I have, and I do. I have. I'm a theologian. I've spent my entire life looking up both aliens and spirituality. And I know the theories of all religions. This is the new theory that has been created since 2015, that all religions were created by the Anunnaki to control the people, that they're all fake, okay? That all of that is fake, and that the Anunnaki created us, and then they created all the religions. Since AI has been in charge of the internet in the last 3 years, they have now said that all religions were created by the Anunnaki. The word Anunnaki doesn't even exist in the way that you think that it does. The word is Anunnaki. It does not mean a race of beings. Never has. When it was translated wrongly in 1948 by Zecharia Sitchin, he thought the word meant Anu, the god, which was an Akkadian god, not a Mesopotamian god. The god Anu came. He skipped over the word Na and went Anu Ki. Okay? Anu, the god, Ki, came. Took the word Na and ignored it and didn't translate it. Then in 2015, Giorgio Tsoukalos said about Zecharia Sitchin, Anunnaki was those from the heavens came. Giorgio Tsoukalos retranslated it wrongly and now took the liberty and said the word Anunnaki meant those from the heavens came to earth. Now it went from the god Anu came to earth and in 1948 to 2015 to a species came down here in a spaceship by Giorgio Tsoukalos, and then the Anunnaki was born. And in 2016, they added the word Anunnaki to the Enuma Elish, to the Mesopotamian god pantheon where it didn't exist before, okay? So what you're believing in is a religion that has been created in the last 5 years, the last 10 years, that came out of the History Channel's Ancient Aliens television show. Before that, there was no Anunnaki. There was a group of people that people were saying came to Earth, but they were not called the Anunnaki. They never were. They were called something different, okay? So you should look that up. So you're telling me I should look that up. You should look that up. Do your own due diligence, right? It's an ancient story before Sitchin mentioned in the ancient cultures. Otherwise, believe the Bible, which likely has truth, but again, corrupted by man. No, I agree with you there. The Bible has been corrupted. All of them have, bro. That's what I wrote about in my book. All the Bibles have been corrupted by the human species. If you take a look at, say, Muhammad, what Muhammad said and what he was teaching, as soon as Muhammad ascended, humans took control of it, turned it into a religion, and corrupted it. When Jesus was here, what he was saying and speaking, as soon as he ascended to heaven, all of that was taken and turned into a religion and corrupted. You and I both agree there. All religions have had that happen to them. They have been grabbed the hold of and turned into a religion from a spiritual way, and they've been corrupted by people. So the Anunnaki ideology is just another way to control all of the religions. And now they're throwing all of them in and saying all of them were created by the Anunnaki to control people. And it's just all part of their, and that's how they tell you that it's part of their religion, that it is coming down here to earth. Now they're allowing people by mistake to go past the earth in third dimension and saying, wait a minute, it came from somewhere else. So that means there is something else out there. So even in their control, in their attempt to control by keeping you in the third dimension, they have to then say, God, people who came from another planet, and allow you to expand your consciousness to hold on then. If there's people from another planet, that means there's other life out there. No, there's no life out there. Do you see where they go with this? So, but the Anunnaki came here in a spaceship. So, okay, yeah, but it's just only them. And they created all this and you're in a prison. But in 1947, Roswell, New Mexico, an alien got captured in that didn't exist, from that spaceship that didn't exist, that called herself Errol, that wasn't a gray alien, who communicated with people that the CIA and the deep state and the military intelligence of the United States government had a nurse who had telepathy, communicated with that alien in secret in the Roswell base in New Mexico, which didn't happen, quote unquote, with quote fingers. And that alien told a different story about what was going on in the universe. That alien told a story about this old guard who created the earth, who is no longer here, who got their asses kicked by the new guard, which is them, who were here in 1948, who were at war with the other people, who kicked their asses and took over this sector of the universe. And they're on their way to the center of the universe. And they tell a very different story about the creation of the universe and the creation of the human race. That's not the one that the Anunnaki supposedly talked about. That group of people was here in 1947, and now they're desperate around here since that started coming out to tell the story that, wait, no, they were really the Anunnaki, but they were claiming they just got here. So now the Anunnaki couldn't have been here back in the time of Marduk, because the Anunnaki got here in 1947 when Roswell, New Mexico happened. Wait, no, that didn't even happen, and those aren't even real, and that was made up too. See, so now they have to say that their religion is the only religion, and that their religion is the real religion, and any other religion that has you believing that there are gods from other space stations or other places is a lie that was created and not a real story, but my gods are the real God. It goes back to the same thing. It's just a religion that has been created, is my point, Greg, that it is no different than the corruption of all the other religions. The same people, and I think you and I agree at this, the same people who are corrupting the religions are corrupting the Anunnaki story. And I think you and I both, I think that's what you were saying. And that they're corrupting this, and that there is no Anunnaki. That's just another religion. It's just the newest one. And that there's still the same people who think they own this planet that have corrupted the place, that are still trying to keep us here. Okay. So now the Anunnaki were here from the time of the pyramids. That's right, because the Anunnaki claim they built the pyramids. Weirdly, so does Thoth, the Atlantean, when the Atlanteans were here. So now the Anunnaki have to say they were the Atlanteans. And I love all of that. I love how they're evolving their story. So the aliens that came here in 1947, they claim they didn't build the pyramids, that they're an older race, that they came here and the old guard created the pyramids. So now you have a fight for the creation of the pyramids. You have the law of one, where Ra claims they created the pyramids. Then you have the Anunnaki who claim they created the pyramids. Then you have Thoth, the Atlantean, who said the Atlanteans built the pyramids. And then you have the people that are trying to sell you on the Anunnaki, saying the Anunnaki were in fact Ra, were in fact the Atlanteans, were in fact everybody else. That's the only way that their whole religion can work, is now they have to adopt the other religions into their religion. So now the pre-dynastic Egyptian gods were in fact the Anunnaki. So the only way that can work is they have to say that the Roman gods were the Anunnaki, the Greek gods were the Anunnaki. In fact, all gods were the Anunnaki. So now the Viking gods have to be the Anunnaki, and everybody has to be the Anunnaki. Okay, so that's the only way that their religion can work. The Hebrews did the same thing with their religion and said all other religions were borrowed from theirs. And then when people look back at the other scrolls, they said, but yours was borrowed from someone else. So they have to say that the oldest scroll is the Mesopotamian scroll because the word Anunnaki is there. Except, Greg, here's the problem with that. Except the problem is that when you look at that in true history, not from the History Channel's Anunnaki's perspective, but in real history, the people in Mesopotamia said that their scroll was from Arcadia, Greek. That scroll was Greek scroll from 11,000 years earlier. And the Greeks, who were the Arcadians, they claimed that scroll came out of Egypt. And it was an Egyptian scroll. And when you go to the Egyptologist, they say that scroll wasn't in fact ours. It came from a race of people that were here prior to that. And nowhere does the Anunnaki word appear except for in the Mesopotamian scroll, but the Mesopotamians claim their scroll is older. And the word Anunnaki disappears out of that scroll and is no longer there when you trace it back to Greece. And then when you trace it back to Egypt, and then when the Egyptians say that it came from somewhere else, there is no word Anunnaki. There is no race of beings who created the earth that are in 3D. It quickly goes to a god that created the universe that's not Anu, that didn't come here in a spaceship. So it quickly goes back to the same spiritual God that Jesus was talking about, and that Muhammad was talking about, and that Moses was talking about, and that everybody else was talking about, but not a monotheistic male-dominated God. It quickly goes to an androgynous creator of the universe that's not the Anunnaki, bro. So as soon as you go past the word Anunnaki, where the only place that it appears, and you try to find that in history further back, that word and concept changes and disappears. It's no longer there. So the one place they're trying to hinge the entire religion on is a place where they placed the word Anunnaki, meaning a species, when that word, according to the scholars, doesn't mean a species. So the religion was created after that scroll, bro, not before. So it didn't come from there. So it came from something else. So when you do chase the scroll and you ignore the message in the scroll and you try to figure out whose religion is older, you get caught on that path of, I have to find out whose religion is the real religion, instead of what is it that religion is trying to tell me. Do you see? So the only way you can believe the Anunnaki religion is you have to believe the slave part of what they're saying to you, and not the other part that they're still trying to edit out. Do you understand that? That's what they've done with everything else. If you look at Christianity and you look at Hebrewism and you look at Hinduism, they're trying to take away the spiritual part of the religion and get you convinced to the slave part of control. They keep trying to edit their own ideology out from these religions. Where did that message come from? That portion of it. Do you see? So you can say these things, right? You're saying that's just man's earliest memory, which always gets misinterpreted. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. You don't have proof of that. You're saying that, and you're claiming, again, what you're doing is exactly what they're saying, bro. You're saying you're misinterpreting and misunderstanding the message. But where is the message that says that? Well, it's the slave message. That's your choice to believe the slave message. You're doing the same thing, and you're programmed to do the same thing by saying that. But you're choosing to believe third dimensional reality is what's happening here, that there's nothing beyond that. It's third dimensional 3D masters who came down here and created the earth, and then they lied and made you believe there was something else so that you would believe that. Why would they do that when they can just have you as a slave? There is no reason for it. It doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense if you believe in the religion itself. So you have to believe in the religion itself for it to make sense. And then you have to believe that you're a slave and that they gave you this other knowledge because they wanted you to have something so that you wouldn't fight against them. So it was a mechanism to control you. And that's why all of them are there, and that's why they sound similar. Or all of them are there and they all sound similar because it's the actual way out. And the reason that you keep defending that is because you're living in this place in the flesh and you don't have access to that knowledge, Greg. And so you keep grabbing a hold of something that makes sense to you in its third dimension. And you keep saying, no, it's true. And it's psychology and it's psychological and it's physical and it's your brain. It's here. And you don't know that there's nothing really out there, bro. And it's just third dimensional aliens, because that's the life you've chosen to live in. You're stuck in this matrix and you can't see the information that's right in front of you, bro. That's what's going on. That is the truth of it. And you're trying to say that it's a psychological thing that's happening in the human mind, because you have to. You have to. Your religion depends on it. Politics, this place, and the belief in this place depends on you convincing me that there is nothing else. But I know that there is, bro. I know it. I know that it's there. Not because I believe it, because I read it somewhere. Okay? You can too, and so can everyone else. Okay? So the reason that you're enslaved, he says, the reason that I'm enslaved, the reason is I'm enslaved as a native by your corrupt system. It's not my corrupt system, bro. And see, this is how you have to, you're enslaving yourself. What you're doing is now you're saying that it's my system, that my system has enslaved you. My system hasn't enslaved you. It's not my religion. My religion is not this place. I don't have a religion. I'm not trying to sell you a religion. I'm teaching you a way of expanding your consciousness to realize that this place doesn't even exist, bro. It just thinks it exists. You don't exist. You just think you exist. You're not a slave here. You're not a slave here because there is no here. This is an illusion that you think is happening to you. This isn't real. This has been created by the creator of the universe, so the creator of the universe could understand what it would be like if it were alive. And we are pretending that we don't know we are the creator of the universe, and we're having these experiences. You think you are this physical body, so you think you are in a prison. You are in a prison. You're in a prison of your mind. You're in a prison that is being controlled by you. You're the slave master. You're the prisoner who is privileged, bro. You have control of this matrix in your reality. You choose whether you're a slave or whether you're not. You choose to expand your consciousness or live in this place. Okay? So you say it's my system that I built. I didn't build it. The creator of the universe built it. We built it. You and I built it. And then we came down here and fractured, and we veiled ourselves to pretend to make ourselves think that this place is all that there's here. And it's a test. You're supposed to realize that this place doesn't exist. And that's how you get out of here. That's the key to what's going on. And you can either believe it or not. I don't care, because I'm not here to save your life, to save your soul. I'm here to give you the information and the tools if you want them. You don't have to believe me. It's okay, because wherever you are in your development is where you're supposed to be. So if you want to live your life and believe that some aliens came down here and got you and put you in prison, then that's where you're going to sit. You're going to sit in that place. Okay? So you said there's not much that I agree with. So you said, I think you do agree with me in some ways, a lot more than you believe, right? Or a lot more than I realize. Let's look, right? That much I agree with, okay? And I am merely doing my part as a humble servant. Agreed, brother. That's all I'm doing. Speaking my truth and raising awareness and consciousness. See, so I think you and I are actually teaching the same knowledge to the people. I think you misunderstood where I was coming from, and I think I was misunderstanding where you were coming from. This place doesn't exist, bro. It's been corrupted. Even the religions have been corrupted. I agree with you 100%. The Anunnaki don't exist. It's a corruption of that scroll to an end by the people who want to be in charge here. So I agree with you. I don't know if you follow a religion, my friend. You're a humble messenger, as I am a humble messenger. I follow a spiritual practice, though I am a minister of 4 different religions. Okay. So in that respect, I do have the titles of that. You might be a cleric, right? You might be a minister. You might be a padre. I don't know, because we haven't talked. But I believe you and I are actually preaching the same thing. I think we're coming from the same perspective. Okay. So I agree with you that even the Anunnaki part was a creation, if that's what you're saying, right? If we otherwise allow ourselves to slip into the illusion, see, you and I, brother, are on the same page. We're teaching the same thing. Slip into the illusion of reality, we get taken advantage of. Agreed, 100%, bro. 157%. This is the key. This is the information right here that we're trying to teach these people, is to not believe any of this, because it's all hype. All the religions have been controlled. I wrote a book about it. Let me throw that commercial up so that you can see where it is that I'm coming from, my friend, because you and I are preaching the same thing. You and I believe, are coming from the same thing. So let me pay the bills by a commercial. Don't leave, brother. Stay here so you and I can continue our conversation.
What is the reality about reality? Returning to the old ways. It is a comprehensive book about what is really going on here on this planet. It talks about the true spirituality that the controllers who think they own this planet have been keeping from you for thousands of years. It explains to you the knowledge that you gain from the universe itself when you live the way the prophets of the world throughout time told us how to live. Eat right, meditate, take care of yourself, treat others right. All the things they originally told us to do, but the controllers have removed from right in front of our eyes. The way to ascend to heaven. The reality about reality. Returning to the old ways. On sale worldwide, online now.
So let me put this up on the screen. Greg says, I'm just a hermit. That means that you're in that phase. You're in the phase of being a hermit, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I hope you are, because that's a great place to be, right? But I also hope that you get past that, and it seems like you're starting to get past that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here on my show trying to help people, which means that truly, Greg, you're not a hermit. You are hermiting, but you're not being the hermit. The phases that we go through in enlightenment and in waking up causes us to wake up and become and realize what's going on. You hit that phase. Then you hit the phase of a hermit. And then you start hermiting. You go in, you leave the world. They don't know what's going on. They're all asleep. And you look for more knowledge. And then you start to evolve past that hermit stage. And what's happening to you, Greg, even though you're claiming that you are a hermit, is that you're coming out of that hermit shell. You have transformed. You have gone in as the centipede or as the caterpillar, and you went into your hermit phase, and you were in your cocoon, and then you expanded your consciousness, and now you're actually talking out to the world. You're here talking to me right now. So you're no longer in the hermit phase. So you might be still hermiting and being in the hermit zone, as it were, keeping the rest of the world away from you. And we all do that. There's nothing wrong with that. So you're in that phase, but you're not a hermit, because you've now gone beyond that, and you're talking about it, and you're talking about it in public, because you found my show. You came in and you started talking in here and helping and trying to help people to raise their consciousness. So truly, you should acknowledge about yourself that you're not really a hermit anymore. You're a cleric now. You're now trying to help people. You're now no longer in the hermit stage. And I'm glad for that, because now you're actually starting to talk to other people, right? So I love that you're saying I'm just a hermit. You're very humble, but you're just a cleric, my friend. You're a learned one. You're part of the, I don't want to say Illuminati because that's some corrupted thing, but you're one of the enlightened, and you should be helping people with the knowledge that you do have instead of being in the hermit phase. So I would suggest that you're more a humble messenger. You said that before. I'm a humble messenger. I'm a humble student of the universe. That's where you are, truly, right? Yeah, you isolate. We do that, right? My isolation gives me great freedom and clarity. Yes, it does. That is the hermit stage that we go into, that we isolate ourselves from that control of this matrix by those people, right? And so you've gotten past that stage, and now, and because you're in that stage, you're doing that. I do it too. You are outside of their control now, and you are able to then learn the truth of what's going on, right? So you should be finding your place of where you will best serve. Because if you're in service to others, or you are in service to others, you wouldn't be having this conversation with me. Because if you were in service to self, you'd be going, "You're an idiot and you're crazy," and you're not doing that. Okay. So you and I are saying the same thing from our own personal perspectives, which is what's supposed to happen, right? So you're in that stage of, I'm keeping all of them out, and I'm going to, that frees me from their control to then learn. And by doing that, you've now realized that you need to do something. You're moving forward now, and you're starting to figure out, where is it that I should be helping the world if I want to help them? Because when you get in that hermit stage, you're like, it doesn't matter what I do, because everybody's going to figure that out on their own, because they will. You're absolutely right. Only 10% will then stand up further and start speaking to the rest of the world. And I hope, my friend, because you seem to be right there at that place, I hope, my friend, that you decide to start speaking like you're starting to do here, and you continue to do that, and you find your spot. I don't know if you're already doing that, right? But I hope you become one of the 10% who will stand up and start talking to people like you're doing here, and start telling people the knowledge that they need to know to find their way out of this place. And you don't become the rest of the hermits who just go, it doesn't matter what I do. I don't have to do anything. I can just sit here, and they'll figure it out on their own anyways, because that's what they're supposed to do. Because truly, you're right. And that is what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to do that. However, there are those of us who have came from a higher plane, who come back down to assist people in this place. And we serve as an example for the 10% that are coming up in this kind of place. When they get to a higher plane, 10% of that 10% will then come back down to this plane to do the same thing. And those masters that you've seen on this earth throughout time are that 10% of the 10% who decided to descend back down to this place. And some of them were masters here who learned that knowledge and did it here to help people. And that part of going backwards to help those people ascend faster is part of this entire scheme of things. I'm getting extra credit for coming back here down to this plane to help this. And in doing so, I'm showing people from that plane that some of us will sacrifice ourselves to come down to this plane to help people. And I'm showing people on this plane that some of us from a higher level come down to help, so that some of these people, when they get to that higher plane, will do that. And those people that are up there see that some people do that, and that changes their development, which also changes my development. And that's the cyclical nature of how things work in the universe. As you ascend, you always have those masters who will return to help at every level. They come from another level, and they return to help those in need, and that helps everybody to move in a faster way. The creator of the universe decided that helps everybody move on and creates a different kind of wisdom as well. So Greg said, yes, I am in service to others, and I enjoy the abilities that social media afford, right, us by making the changes in the world. I do as well. They designed this so they could control people, and people like you and myself, my friend, have then turned that into a place of debate, like you and I were doing earlier, and then a place of knowledge where we're able to utilize this because of the laws of the universe. They can't stop us from free will. So with it, you're using the internet, I'm using the internet, and we're able to then do that, right? So Anna, welcome Anna, by the way. Anna says, a truth in that, Leo, isolation is a good, she's talking about the hermiting, what Greg and I were talking about, right? Isolation is a good place to be in sometimes. Greg, truth then comes to you when you connect to your own higher self and take those around you that want to keep the veil take those out of your life, take those people around you out of your life. And that's what happens. And I teach people, and I'm sure Greg that you do. Greg says, yeah, it's strange. It's a strange process of shielding and losing things that no longer serve. Well, that's what, and I think that was an answer to what Anna was saying. I tell people this, and Greg, I'm sure you've already gone through it, so you don't need me to tell you this because of where you are in your development. I know that you have. People, when you start moving into that hermit phase that Greg and I have been talking about, and that Anna is now also talking about, I'm motioning to the chat over here, sorry guys, instead of the camera. When you start getting into that hermit phase that Greg and I were talking about, and Anna and I, and now Greg, we're talking about, the three of us, you learn that I don't have to do any of this stuff, and I don't have, because it's all going to work itself out anyways. What happens is, as you start to get to that phase, you find that everyone around you, your circle of friends and family, start thinking you're more and more crazy because you start waking up, and your circle gets smaller and smaller, and your first instinct is to go, man, I don't have any friends anymore, and my circle is getting smaller because everybody thinks I'm crazy now, and I don't really want to be around those people because their energy is wrong and icky, and I'm moving into a different phase. And you guys out there around the world, when that starts happening to you, you need to realize that that's normal. It's okay. Your circle is going to diminish because you're outgrowing those people who are not expanding their consciousness with you. What will soon happen is that your circle will become smaller, but it'll become surrounded by people who think more like you and are more like-minded and more awake like you are. You will find those people, and you will find that smaller group of people will satisfy that in you that you were looking for in a much better way than all of those friends and family members did for you before, when you were living in the flesh and in this place. Then you will hermit, you'll turtle, and you'll get into that place, and you'll go, I don't want to worry about anybody else. I'm just going to sit here and they can just do whatever they're going to do. And then you will expand your consciousness even more. And then you will learn, you'll either become one of those people like Greg is doing, and Anna and myself. You will start then figuring out, how can I get this message out? How can I help people? How can I teach them? How can I guide them to these tools? How can I give them these tools? And you'll find your place. Or you'll say, I'm done, and I'm just waiting now until it's time and I can graduate. And then you'll do that. Most people do that, and it's okay to do that because that's what you're supposed to do. Not everyone is cut out to further that and become a cleric, to become a leader, to become a guide, to become a teacher. Not everybody has that within them to do that. So it's okay if you go into that phase and you go, I don't want to do that because that's scary. It's okay. You're not required to do that. Those of us who are dumb enough to take this job, when we were up there, that's why I was put it into a third dimensional perspective. When they said volunteers, some of us went, I'll do that, and then we laugh about it. Was I drunk when I did that? In a third dimensional mindset, we'll say those things to get a laugh. But it's not everybody's forte to do those things. It's a harder job to become because of the responsibility to become a guide to the people. So I'm not trying to make people that is a choice that each individual has to make. And so when someone gets in that hermit phase, no one who has any knowledge is going to fault them in any way if they just stay and just live their life and live their best life, and then punch their ticket out of here when they do die, because that is truly what you're supposed to do. It is only that 10% that decide to help. And of that 10%, it's only 10% of that 10% who will return down to this really, really hard place to live in, to help people. So, Greg, I'm glad that you have a voice and that you're not afraid to use it, and that you are in that place. And I do hope that you are working. I would love for you to send me a friend request so that we could talk more when I'm not on air, because I would love to find out where you are in your development and what it is that you're doing. If you have a purpose that you're doing it on the internet, you said you're using the internet. I would love to be friends with you and find out what you're doing there, and where in the world you are doing this stuff. I'm currently in Australia. I grew up in the United States, and I've just moved to Australia in the last month. I'm living with my wife. She's at work right now, but I'm living with my wife here and starting a life here with my wife here in Australia. But I'm still on the internet doing these things. So I would love, my friend, to find out what you're doing and where you're doing that from. Anna says the more you do this, the more negative. Yeah, the more you do this, let me put it up on the screen. The more you do this, the more the negative loses control over yourself. The freer you become of your path. The freer you become. The freer you become, your path then opens to better possibilities and life-changing openness within. Yeah. So right. So the less control they have over you, the more you have control over yourself, the more that frees you up to even expand your consciousness anymore. Right. Anna says, how do you like our beautiful country? I absolutely love it, Anna. I love this country. I don't want to leave it. This country is the energy here is so much more spiritual than the energy anywhere in the United States. If you go to Sedona, Arizona, or that area of the Four Corners of the United States, and some of the other areas in the South where the natives still have their energy, it's beautiful like this. I'm here in New South Wales, on the eastern coast, and I love it here. And I don't know anyone in Australia, in any place of Australia, that other than when you're in the big cities. When you're in the big cities, you're under the control of the controllers, and you're in an area and in a place where you have that kind of control over. That's normal. It's everywhere. But when you get outside of that, or if you can withstand it and know that even though you're there in that place where that machine is in control, and you can stay outside of it, it's not difficult. I like this place. I always knew that I was supposed to come here my entire life. I've always wanted to be here and was always trying to get to Australia, hoping that at some point I would be able to, and now I'm here. So I love it. I'm hoping to use this as my base of operations to help expand the consciousness of the earth. And Brooke and I are planning to travel around the world to teach people, but we're doing it from here. And this will always be her home. I was born in the United States, and I will probably always keep my citizenship there. But I'm hoping to get dual citizenship. And if I have to choose one, I would really rather stay in Australia than to go back to the United States as a citizen. But I will do whatever it is that is necessary to keep both citizenship and because I am a citizen of this earth and a citizen of this universe. And so I would rather be able to freely operate and move about this planet. You know what I mean? So I'll take a visa from wherever I can take one, or a passport for wherever I can get one, to be able to travel the world. And right now I'm currently with a passport here and a visa here, and I've applied for the 820. So we got that started now to get the bridge visa, the 810 going, so that I can stay here in Australia and hopefully at some point become a citizen of Australia in a few years. I would love to do that. So yes, our strong Aboriginal spirits. The Aboriginal. I had said to somebody when we were talking about it, when they said what places around the earth are the most spiritual, you can look at India, in some places there, and the Philippines in some places there, and the United States in some places there. There's places all over the world in small pockets that are still very, very spiritual. And this continent seems to have most of it, if not all of it, is very spiritual. I mean, you still have the control in the cities where they've diminished just like you do in the United States or in Europe. You still have that corruption, but that corruption is getting smaller, and it's getting more localized to only these large cities. And the rest of these nations, even the United States, is expanding in their consciousness now. But I love it here, and I hope to stay here and one day become an Australian citizen. But I would also like to keep my citizenship in the United States and have dual citizenship so that we can freely move back and forth, because there are some beautiful places in America that I would love to show Brooke and her children and our children, some beautiful, wondrous places over in North American continent. So I would love to be able to travel there freely, to be able to do that, to show her and them some of the beautiful places and gardens in the United States. And I would also love to be able to travel around the world and see some beautiful places and talk to some beautiful people, because I know they're out there when you get away from this corruption. So Greg, please send me, if you're still here, please send me a friend's request on Facebook. If you're on, because it looked like you were communicating from there, so that you and I can continue talking off camera. And but I probably should go, because I've been 3.5 hours now on the air. I probably should go for this week. If anybody that out there, because there's a bunch of you in the audience, if you have questions, pop them up on. Don't be afraid. Voice those questions. Especially if you're anywhere on Facebook or YouTube, those questions will come in here to the chat. So if you have any questions for myself, Greg, Anna, throw them up now before I go, because I've extended my program today. I'm at 3.5 hour mark, and I'm still going. And normally I try to get off by the 3 hour mark, but we're having such a great conversation with Greg. I love the debate that we were having as we were going. And then when Anna got here, the conversation continued in a very uplifting 4-dimensional vibration. So those of you who are still here in the audience, if you have any questions, please ask them now. I'll wait to answer them if you have them. Corruption within our country needs to go, just the same as the United States, Anna. Corruption within our country needs to go. We need to be a unified and work together. It's finally happening. Yeah, your country's doing the same. It's happening all over the world. The United States is in the process of doing that. Europe is in the process of doing that. Most of the countries around the world are in the process of the people waking up in a spiritual way, not a religious way, in a spiritual way, waking up and starting to look around and seeing the true reality of what's happening and making changes in the world. This is prophecy. This was designed into this matrix to happen at this point in time. So for those of you who are out there in the world, if you think the world is actually getting worse, it is always darkest before the dawn. It is always the death throes that you go through. Change only comes through strife. Do you see? So what you think is the world getting worse is actually those who are corrupted the earth, those who are trying to and have had control for a time. There's that word out of the Bible, the devil shall control the earth for a time. That means a beginning, a middle, and an end. That time is over. The devil's control of the earth is ended. There is no more control over the earth by this cabal, this deep state. They're fighting for their lives and their death throes to keep control of this place. They're desperate at all cost to keep the status quo, which is slipping through their fingers no matter how hard they held. If you grab a handful of sand, no matter how hard you hold on to that sand, the harder you try to hold on to that sand, the more that sand is going to slip through your fingers. And eventually you're only going to have a few pebbles left in there that you control. And that is where they are now. They have opened their hand and they realize that there is only a few pebbles left in it. And they're trying to control those few pebbles before they dry up and blow away. That's what they're trying to do. So you have to realize that's, sorry, my phone was ringing. That was my sister trying to call me. She doesn't realize I'm still on the air. So she's trying to call me for some reason. She'll have to leave a message and I'll have to get back to her. So So you have to realize that that is what's happening. They were holding on to the sand as hard as they could, and it was slipping through their fingers. And now they're realizing that they don't have much control left, and they're trying to hold on to everything that they have as hard as they can. It's slipping through their fingers. Their time is over. This entire way of life is coming to an end, and it's going to be a new beginning for this world very soon. And they can't do anything about it anymore. So they have to try to convince you that we only have these Anunnaki controllers who are about to come back and nuke us, or they have to try and nuke us. They have to try and get us into a third world war. And they're trying to do it with this Palestinian thing. Around the world, they were trying to say white people were prejudiced against everybody. And in each country, they were trying to tell you that the white people who are in those countries hate and are in control of all of those, because they're the ones who are actually doing that. They're the ones, the white people are the ones who think they own this world. Not all white people, but the ones who are the slave masters who think they own this planet are mostly white people. They're trying to tell you that you're the problem. And in America, they were trying to stir up a race war between black people and Americans and white people, I should say, with African Americans and white Americans. And that didn't work. So they were trying to do that around the world. And then they were using the Palestinian problem, and now that's what they're using, is they're trying to drum up a civil war in every country between the indigenous population and the Arab populations. Why? Because they need that to be the third world war. They're trying to get it to start. So you have these people that are unbeknownst to them being controlled by these cabals who are patriots, who are coming out and saying, I'm a patriot from this country and I don't like this way. And we indigenous people need to stand up and get these people that are trying to, evil people that are on the outside, trying to come in to take control of our thing. But what you don't realize is the evil people who are trying to do that are your own governments. They are doing that to you. Who are allowing these people to come in that these patriots are complaining about? You have Australians over here saying, these Palestinians, these Muslims are coming here. And who is bringing those Muslims in here? Your own government's doing it. It's not Palestinians that are doing it. It's not Muslims that are doing it. It's not Arabs that are doing it. Who are bringing these people in here? Your government is bringing the people in here. There are certain elements in your government in this country who are allowing, encouraging, and bringing these people here, that they're allowing people over here to tell you misdirection. They're telling you that it is these peoples that are coming here that are trying to take over. Who are bringing these people here? The same thing went on in the United States. And they were saying, these people are coming from the Arabs and South America, and Mexicans are coming into the country and they're trying to take control. And guess what happened? There are people like myself that said, well, who are bringing these people here? Who are allowing these people to come in? There's the problem behind the people coming in. Who are encouraging these people? And in the United States, they realized it was certain people, the same white people who were in charge. The same group of people over there, it was the progressives who called themselves in that country Democrats. The progressives were bringing these people in to the country. So people aligned themselves with the other large party, which were the Republicans, which are conservatives, and voted out those corrupted people who are bringing these people in. You have the same thing going on in this country right now. And I see people calling for it. I don't know what you call your parties here, and I'm not going to get involved in your politics other than to show you the parallels, because I'm not a citizen of the Australian continent. But those of you who are here, if you look at who's in charge of your government currently, you're going to find that your prime minister, president, whatever you call that leader, is not a conservative. He's a progressive. Whatever he calls himself, if he calls himself he's a progressive. He and the people that are in charge in your government, I know this because I see people calling about it, that are wise people here saying, these people, Anna's talking about it, these people are bringing these people over here. I could be considered one of those people in your mind because I'm a foreigner who has come to this country. I'm not trying to bring my politics into this world because that's not my religion. My religion is not politics. My religion is not that third dimensional construct. My religion if there is one, is spirituality, and that is enlightenment. I'm not here to try and change your political persuasion, but I'm here to tell you that there are certain elements in your government who are bringing these people here that they're telling you, some people are telling you are your enemy and that you need to push them away. It's not the people, it's the ideology. So what is it that is changing Australia if it's being corrupted? It is being corrupted because they're bringing all these people that are of a different way of thinking than the way we think. Who is allowing those people to come here? Because if your government believed what you believe, they would be stopping them at the border. They're not. Who is it that you need to identify in your government? Who are the people that are in your government that are encouraging and bringing those people in here that are trying to corrupt your way of life? Those people need to be stopped, not the people that are here doing that. Those need to be stopped too, but you can't stop them when the people that you have in your government who are encouraging that and bringing them here are continuing to do that. If you have the power to vote, and I understand that every single citizen of Australia has to vote. I wish they did that in America. I wish they did. That's a great idea. If you don't vote, you get fined money. You're in trouble. They need to mandate that in the United States and make every single American vote. Because if every single American voted, there'd be a different United States of America. In this country, I would be proud to have that dilemma that I had to vote. So those of you that are here, you need to educate yourself and say, what is the problem? Well, the problem is there's too many of these foreigners coming in. I could be considered that problem too. And I wouldn't argue with you, only in that I'm not here to change your way of life, other than I'm trying to help you to ascend to a better place. I'm not trying to change your politics. I'm not trying to change the way that you live your life. I'm trying to make sure that you can continue to live your life the way that you want to. So that's the only thing I'm bringing here. My religion isn't politic. My religion isn't corruption and power. My religion is the opposite of that. But I would suggest to you to look at where the root of that problem is. Someone in your government is not doing their job. They're not keeping these people away from you. Who are those people? And are those people encouraging these people to come here? Because if they are, you need to remove those people from power and put in power people who think like you do and don't want those people that are trying to change your way of life to change your way of life. So it's not the people that are coming here. It's the people who are allowing and encouraging those people to come here who need to be changed so that those people don't come here anymore. And the ones who do come here, like me, assimilate to the way you want us to be. And I would be proud to do that. I'm not here to change Australia. I want Australia to stay exactly the way it is because I would like it to be very spiritual. I want Australia to be the way the Aborigines think. And most of the Australians, I believe, want this place to be more like the way the Aborigines think. So the people, those of you who are here in this country or wherever you are in the world, if you have the same problem, what is changing about your way of life? And who is allowing that and encouraging that change? And do you have power over changing those people out of power, whoever they call themselves, whatever political party they claim to be? If they don't agree with the way that you want to live your life, you need to change those people. Then when you change those people, the people that you put in charge won't allow more people who think like them to come into your country. And they'll tell those people in your country, you need to be more like us or you have to get out. Okay. So you guys got to look at that, whatever country you live in, whatever country you claim to be a citizen from, or that you are a citizen of. I did that in my country and I voted and I helped vote to change the dynamic, to change that. And guess what happened? The border that they claimed, the people that were in charge who were bringing everybody across it said, we can't stop the border, man. They're going to do this and there's nothing we can do. And the people said, then we're going to put someone else in charge. And the person, whether you like that person or not, that got in charge literally stopped the people from coming across the border. Boom. No more came across the border. So the other people lied and said they couldn't stop it, because the other people were encouraging it and making it happen. We know that now because we got rid of those people being in charge, and the ones that are in charge stopped it. So if you guys in this country think that there's the same flow, there's a water faucet turned on, you need to look within your own government and say, who's controlling that water faucet and why aren't they turning it off? Okay. And everybody in this country who's a citizen has to vote. So you guys have the power better than Americans, because in America, the people who vote are the ones who choose to. And it's less than 1/3 of the population. I wish that everybody had to vote, because then they would have to educate themselves and they would have to learn to vote. That's why they want everything to be the popular vote in America, because right now not everybody votes. And if they think that, well, we can get everybody to vote, then we can just get it at a popularity contest, right? So there's safeguards away from the popularity contest in the United States, and that allows not everybody to vote. But if everybody had to vote, I think it would be a little bit different landscape. Right. So, yeah, Anna says, I'm loving the uprising of the whole world, making the negative weaker, and weaker. The more that we turn our backs and attention away from the self-acclaimed rulers, the more awake everyone becomes. We all become. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Right. So you guys out there, wherever you are around the world, you guys have to start thinking that way. Look at things from a different perspective. Instead of listening to them and their brainwashing, hermit, do like Greg was doing. Find your own place. Talk about, like what Anna was talking about. Ignore them and what they're saying to you, and learn on your own and ask questions. Because what will happen is you'll see it from a different perspective. And then all of a sudden, when you do that, you're going to realize that this perspective that you're seeing things from is, wait a minute, they're all lying and they're part of the problem. And so then you're going to start taking the lesser of two evils. Wait a minute, what is the problem with my country wherever I live? And who's allowing that? Who's encouraging that? And can I change that? And once you decide that and you say, we can change that with knowledge, we can change this by removing those people from power and allowing these other people who give them a shot and see what they do. And if they're just the same, then you go, okay, so that's not working either. So where do we do now? If you're asking those questions, you're on the beginning of making those changes. And that's happening around the world. People are waking up, and the old system, the old guard doesn't work anymore. And that brainwashing doesn't work anymore. If you find yourself picking a side in that political struggle, then you're still in it. And you haven't woke up enough. You haven't waken up enough to realize that they're both wings of the same bird. The left wing and the right wing are just the same, two wings of the same bird. You need to look at the bird and see the bird and see that they're both just political wings of that bird. And once you do that, then you start to realize that there's a way of shifting the control back to the people. And that isn't through their power. It isn't through their control. It isn't through war. It isn't through uprising. It isn't through that physical plane of existence. It isn't through killing and murdering and overthrowing governments. It's not. It's through knowledge. It's through knowledge of the ascension. It's through the knowledge of the halls of Amente, the Akashic records. It's by waking people up, and then the people just look at those people in that bird in the left wing and the right wing of the same bird, and you look at them and say, no, no, and no. That's what happens. That's what's happening around the world. So if you find yourself fighting a battle over the same religion from a different perspective, you're still in it and you haven't found your true path yet. So please take a look. Don't believe a word I've said. Look it up for yourself. Believe that I'm crazy, and believe that I'm a liar, and believe that I'm manipulating you, and believe that I'm making it all up. Go down that rabbit hole and question everything I've said. Go down that rabbit hole for yourself and question everything. When you do that, that is the beginning of the end of their control over your mind, of this matrix and the genre that they're using of television and the internet and politics and religion and controlling you. And when you start waking up from that, you'll find yourself hermiting, and then you'll find yourself going, I don't really care about all that. They can do it themselves. I'm just going to stay here and do my own thing. And then you'll either go past that hermit stage and you'll start helping again, or you'll just wait until your life's over so you can check out. Neither are wrong. There are no wrong ways. There are no wrong paths. Just pick a path and stay on it. Pick your own path and walk it yourself. Walk your own path and find that path and just go to the end of it. That's all you have to do. All right, guys, I'm coming up now. How long have I been in the air? 4 hours. I'm coming up in the 4-hour mark. I got to go. I love you guys. I will see you guys next week. I'll be back Saturday morning at 8 a.m. if you're in Australia, on the east coast of Australia. I'm in New South Wales. Otherwise, look at the time. It changes for Australia. 3 p.m. West Coast America time. That's GMT -7 on Friday night or Saturday morning, depending on where in the world you are. I'm always on at the same time. Look it up. I'm always on wherever you are in the world. Tune in. We can have these conversations. I will be interpreting more of Thoth the Atlantean, and more of that information, showing you the same message was being taught even then, whether you believe that real scroll really existed thousands of years ago or it was invented in 1929. Doesn't matter. The message is the same that Jesus was teaching, Muhammad was teaching, Moses was teaching, Daniel was teaching, the same message that Thor and Odin are teaching, the same message that Marduk was teaching, the same message that Lao Tzu was teaching, the Buddha was teaching, Taoism, Buddhism. They're all teaching the same message. All of these religions, all of these spiritual practices, Hindi, all of them are teaching the same thing. You need to look at that, not whose religion is the oldest, whose religion is the right one, whose politics is in control, whose way of life is the best. Look at the way of life that they're all teaching you. Look at the way that they were teaching you how to conduct yourself. Look at the way to heaven, the way to the ascension, the way to Elysium, the way to the halls of Amente, whatever you call that place of enlightenment. Look to that. The message of how to find that is the same in all of these genres throughout all of history. And I am going to teach you that. I am going to guide you down that road. I am not the only one who's doing it. But if you resonate with me, contact me, listen to me. I have been talking about this for, 10 years, 12 years now online. I have been teaching it before that, and I'm going to continue doing that until I draw my last breath on this earth. I will continue to expand your consciousness as much as I can, one mind at a time. I will continue doing it. I love you guys. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. I will see you guys next week, or in the chat, or in a conversation. This has been Orion Rising. I am your host, Leonard O'Neill. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good morrow, depending on where in the world you are tuning into the show. I'll see you guys next time.